Hi everyone, this is Zeiss here. No need to introduce myself, I guess, but in this video, this extremely long video, I am watching the developers live stream, the Campfire chat about Diablo 4 Gauntlet. So if you haven't seen that already, and especially if my opinion matters to you, make sure to watch it. Feel free to disagree with me and let me know in the comments what you think all about this. And I hope you enjoy it. Alright, it's starting. Let's check it out.
Season of the Construct has so much going on.
New quest lines, new legendary items, new unique items, new mechanics, challenges, and more.
Challenges? Okay.
In the Season of the Construct, you learn of a wondrous place beneath the sands of Kejistan, filled with untold treasure. Nearly all who seek this treasure never return. Those that do return are haunted, or worse yet, possessed. You seek out this place to put an end to whatever is lurking there.
Following a lead, you discover a sprawling network of underground vaults. It houses the Loom.
Yeah, votes are cool actually. I like.
By the brilliant mages Zoltan Kul and Ayujan of Chaldeum.
Maybe the only thing I don't like about votes is doesn't have humanoids, evil men for the pelotons.
Only to discover that the demon Malphus has taken over the Loom to create its own private hell.
Malphus is a servant of Diablo. He's unlike other demons we've encountered in Diablo 4. He's shapeless, manipulates others, takes on forms other than his own.
He has possessed
That's actually true in actual real life lore as well.
Explore the vaults, gain access to the Loom, and defeat Malphus.
This season introduces constructs.
Kind of.
These elementally powered monsters were originally created by Ayujan and Zoltan to protect and maintain the Loom. Unfortunately, Malphus has taken control of them and twisted them to his liking. They're powered by various different elements, giving them different abilities and strengths and weaknesses. You'll also find them, of course, in the vaults themselves, protecting the many treasures within.
Didn't we see this already? It's probably like an intro or something.
They're going to come
But
across
yeah.
a broken version of the Seneschal during the quest line. The Seneschal is a special construct that was built to command the other constructs based on Ayujan's and Zoltan's direction. Ayujan of Chaldeum repairs the Seneschal to follow your orders.
Yep.
The Seneschal construct is your companion. It's a rebuilt construct that will accompany you throughout the season. Your construct.
Yeah, I'm glad they kind of fixed this thing. It was pretty useless, except the mockery support stone. It was pretty useless, but now not so much. Now it's better.
Stones are the key to customizing and empowering your construct. They are primarily found in vaults. You get governing stones from the season's quest line, and you get tuning stones from playing through the seasonal content.
So in this demo, the player has only 4 potions, but the stones are maxed out. That was good.
Progressing through the season of the construct, you're leveling up your Seneschal.
Probably some development character who didn't do that now.
And also abilities that are just focused on buffing the power of the player themselves, so that players have
For the sake of argument, right?
One cool ability is auto defense. Auto defense summons a magical barrier around your construct.
Yeah, I don't really like this. I would prefer the barrier to the character, because it works also on melee attacks.
It is a channeled ray of fire that can chain to multiple enemies.
This is actually really good. Focus fire. Tempest is also very good. And of course Firefly for a single target. Works really well with piercing and mood shot.
Where you can farm for the magic stones for your Seneschal.
She's cool.
You can
She's
find
cool.
the entrances in different zones of Sanctuary. When the player enters a vault, they are met in a familiar area of Sanctuary. Then, the player teleports to the vault proper, encountering great challenges. Vaults not only have our new construct family in them, but also new traps built for this season.
Players are going to discover many new hazards inside these vault spaces. You know, whether it is spinning pillars shooting out flames or other traps.
Sorry
Players
about
need to stay on their toes while they're progressing through these vaults in order to stay alive.
Each vault culminates in a gauntlet of true skill. Players must avoid traps while fighting waves of enemies and a powerful...
You don't really need to avoid them. Just get a bit more warding and you can just tank right through them. Oh yeah, no biggie, you know.
Warding is a special buff players can get by interacting with the statues.
I completed votes without even getting hit by any trap, so not a big deal.
Ward-woven chests, a special chest
Should have
players
made
can
video
interact
about
with
those
at
things
the end of
maybe,
a
but
vault
you know.
if they have enough stacks.
I'm not the kind of
Let them know.
content
If a player has more
creator
than
who
one
would do
stack, they can
video
win a
about
rare
anything even
ward-woven
when they
chest.
fart, right?
Those have even better rewards. This
So
season
just for the
introduces
cool
our
stuff,
first stationary boss in Diablo 4.
I guess.
This is going to be a fight against this massive protective golem meant to watch over the vaults. The Malthus, once again, has managed to corrupt and control.
Yeah, until they meet a barbarian or rogue to one-shot them, because the other classes probably can't
This
do that.
presents a lot of unique and new mechanics for the players to navigate and fight.
The player is going to need to bring all of their skills and abilities to bear as they try to destroy and fight off these Malthus-controlled constructs. They're also going to make good use of their own Seneschal, make sure they remain upgraded in the fights to come. The Gauntlet is a new, thick-seed, non-linear dungeon where players have a fixed amount of time to
Okay,
achieve
let's see
high
this.
scores by proving their might. Any player who unlocks World Tier 4, Torment Mode, can compete in the Gauntlet.
Okay, so
Gauntlet
there's
starts
no
several
need to
weeks into
complete the season?
construct. At the beginning of each week,
Why did I
the
bother
Gauntlet
completing
replaces
it then?
the current one. Unlike other dungeons, every time you and other players enter the Gauntlet that week, it will be exactly the same.
Oh,
Same monster positions, same affixes, everything.
okay.
This makes it a fair competition.
Yeah,
Additionally,
let's see.
monsters within the Gauntlet start at level 100. This is meant to test your fully leveled up and geared out build.
They
It's
start at
highly
level
interactive,
100?
enabling a
That's
broad
boring.
set of player choices. Players can try different classes and strategies.
Didn't they
to achieve
start at
high
like
scores.
level
Leaderboards
124?
are a place for top players to compete with one another in the Gauntlet. These reset
Weird.
each week when a new Gauntlet appears. There are solo leaderboards for each class.
Yep,
as
solo
well as
hardcore
party
here, guys.
leaderboards that vary with party size. And of course, there are a set of leaderboards just for hardcore players too.
Yep.
Some players may not be ready for that type of play. So we've created
What do you mean?
as well.
You can get to level 100 in like less than 20 hours. What do you mean not ready?
Show off.
I'm ready in a day, bro.
The worthy, you'll be ready for leaderboard
Actually, I made only
competition.
3
Can't wait to see
characters
you in
this
Sanctuary.
season, so maybe it's time to create more. Yeah, definitely. After this, when this ends, I'll probably start new characters. Maybe even farm Duriel for duplicate Ubers.
Hello, Diablo community. Welcome to another Diablo 4 Campfire chat.
Can't wait.
My name is Adam Fletcher. I'm the community director here for Diablo.
Please,
and I'm
Adam,
joined by
save
two
us.
very
I mean,
familiar faces.
Adam Jackson.
Regular
Please save us.
On Campfire chats, I have Mr. Adam Jackson.
Please
the lead
save
class
us, Adam
designer,
Jackson.
And Mr. Joey P, Joe Pipora, our associate game director. He doesn't like it when I say Joey P.
Cool, guys.
It feels like a running gag that like very few people have.
There's, yeah.
Well, now
Tiffany Vaughn, our production director,
Yeah, it's
very big fans of Joey P.
Joey P on deck. Yeah. So.
We have a big campfire chat to talk about today. We
Nice,
have
probably
a lot
2
of
hours.
updates to talk about before Diablo 4. Of course, we have our mid-season update, which is coming up really soon. In fact, it's coming next week.
Nice.
So players will be able to
Vampiric powers.
experience the mid-season update. And along with that, a very big feature that everyone's been talking about and anticipating. I know it's been a long anticipated feature within Diablo 4, and that is the Gauntlet. So we'll be talking about the Gauntlet as well and actually showcasing it here because that does come with the mid-season update next week as well. So players will be able to jump into the Gauntlet and try it out themselves starting next Tuesday. But I know a lot of stuff has happened over Diablo 4 since the start of Season 3. Just recently, we released the 132 patch, which was the one that included a way for players who actually have a bunch of Uber Uniques and want to craft Uber Uniques. They can do that by creating resplendent sparks and then being able to craft the Uber Uniques that they specifically want if they happen to find other ones.
Yeah, but that's like 5 for 1.
But we do have a lot of new features coming into the actual mid-season update. With
Not really cool 5 for 1. I should have made it like 3 for 1. 5 is just too much. They're too rare anyway. Well, I got them, but you know.
Powers returning from season 2.
Yes, that's good. Metamorphosis, please.
I really like being able to bring back some of the malignant powers from season 1 in the form of the unique rings we have dropping from in season 2.
Let's see how they bring
now
them today.
Towards season 3 and in the mid-season patch, we'll bring back some of the vampire powers that players really seemed to like.
Yeah.
Were pretty cool.
Especially Undying and Metamorphosis.
Talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we'll be going over all of them and which ones we brought back and what they do. You'll be able to see all of it in a little bit here.
Yeah. So I think we
Okay.
have a
Looking
kind of
forward.
slide to start talking about our vampiric powers.
6?
Yeah, so really we've got
Nice.
6 vampiric powers that are really returning from the Season of Blood. They're coming back this time as legendary powers instead of uniques.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
unlike the unique greens, you're getting
That's even
legendary
better,
powers,
so you
just
can
like
put
any
them
other
on
legendary power
what
that
you
comes
need.
with the game. And they're not all exact one-to-one copies. They're really close to matching their previous functionality and kind of what you would expect them to do. But we brought them back in a way that's kind of
Metamorphosis.
evergreen that they can
Yes!
be sustainable.
Yeah, they can fit
for
in that
healthy
next
growth.
Okay,
dimension
Blood
of
Boil for
aspects
blood
and
builds,
stuff,
that's
so,
cool.
Yeah, so
A
the ones we
Curse
got
Touch,
here
not
are
much.
Turning Head,
Hectic, not
Cursed
much.
Touch, Blood
Metamorphosis
Boil,
and
Hectic,
Moonrise, that's cool.
Metamorphosis,
And Undying.
Fan
Okay,
Favorite,
that's...
Moonrise,
Let me
and
hide
Undying.
myself here.
You can see a few of them here. You can play
Okay,
out.
that's pretty good.
Just in case.
Yep,
you
yep, yep.
forgot
Amazing.
season 2.
Awesome.
Here's some of the fan favorite ones. And of course, everyone likes Metamorphosis.
Oh,
It's a huge, big one.
no question about it, man. I mean,
Essentially invading elements.
Metamorphosis is the thing.
As these legendary aspects, legendary
Okay,
powers.
Yeah,
let's
so
pause
here
the
we're gonna
video
show you the
actually.
exact text so you can
Okay, so offensive aspect of Curse Touch. Up to 27.5, 35 chance to your skills to inflict vampiric curse. That's pretty good if it makes them, yeah, it makes them vulnerable. That's good. Especially, I think it will be really good for Sever, so you don't have to like rely on corpse tendrils as much. It will be a really good source of vulnerable, especially having in mind that it spreads. And yeah, pretty good. Blood boiling offensive aspect, that's pretty good. Core skills overpower, yeah. That would be really good for blood builds of Necromancer. You should very well know I mostly talk about Necromancer here because the other classes they're just not my thing, and especially having in mind how OP Barb and Rogue can be, and into like some extent Sorcerer. So yeah, fuck them. Alright. Undying, that's pretty cool, especially for a Bloodlance Necromancer, because Blood Surge can heal and Bloodlance doesn't, and now you don't have to rely on potions and Blood Orbs so much to constantly pump up your damage because of the, what was the aspect now? I forgot, Untimely Death. It increases the damage, right? So that would be really good, not having to use potions as much and also relying on blood orbs, you can now use them for gore kills, so that would be pretty good. Let's see where we can place it, right? It's listed here. All right, let's move on. Let's see.
screen cap
What
that,
else?
figure out all the exact differences between these and what's in Season 2.
Let us know
Largely the
about
same, a few
Metamorphosis, please.
differences. The biggest one I think you'll see in the next screen is Metamorphosis. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's really, really
Okay.
strong. So now,
Okay, let's see. When you evade, you turn into blah blah blah. It's basically the same thing, right? Enemies along your path take physical damage. Really good for blood and bone build, especially. And having in mind, you can now not use Blood Mist because that's a total bullshit skill slot waste for me. I don't use it anyway, so that will make things incredible now. Good thing is we can place it on the boots. We're gonna lose the aspect of slaughter movement speed, but honestly, I'm not willing to sacrifice grasping veins on the amulet because of this. So probably it's gonna go on my boots, and builds are gonna be slower, but this source of unstoppable, that's just incredible.
it's coming back, but it's going to increase the cooldown of
Alright,
your evade.
also aspect of the
Yes,
Moonrise,
kinda
that's
like that,
probably
aspect of
gonna be
boost,
really good
increases your
for
armor, but
Bone
also
Spirit
increases
as
the
well.
duration of your evade timer.
Yes, very similar. So,
like
you
these-
got a little bit of a kiss curse
Yeah,
there.
that light effect, that choice for players to choose. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
it.
that's really cool. That's really cool.
So yeah, next going into what our updates are.
Yes!
We've got the
They
our
fixed
generic updates here.
snapshotting.
So the
Okay.
first one a lot of people have been talking about is snapshot.
Let me tell you, before they say anything about snapshotting, let me tell you what bonuses snapshotting actually provides. It's minus 200% to respect multiplicatively, especially to the hardcore community. Got it? Snapshotting, you're a noob, you need more power to progress in the game. I'm sorry for you that you have to like do bullshit like this. But thank you for discovering it, bringing it on the table so it can get fixed. I am very grateful for this. So thank you, noobs, for doing that. Let's move on.
Shotting. We've got, we've heard a lot of cases from people they brought up where snapshotting is a thing that's been reported to us.
Yeah.
And to give
Really
a little
good.
bit of a
Exactly.
kind of a high level view of what snapshotting
Keep them
is,
coming.
not everybody's
Keep
really
breaking the
familiar with
game so it gets
it.
better and better.
Snapshotting is this idea
If
that
you know what I
when you
mean.
get a buff, let's say a damage buff, you're able to hold on to that buff for a longer duration than it would normally last if you use it on a skill that is like channeled or lasts a really, really long time. So a simple example, this would be like the Barbarian's Whirlwind. If let's say I've got a 50% damage buff and it lasts for 4 seconds, if I have that buff on me the moment I channel Whirlwind, it'll keep that buff going until I cancel Whirlwind because I had it when it started. And so if I keep my Whirlwind going forever, I'll keep that 50% damage buff way beyond the normal 4-second time.
Especially with resource generation.
If the game didn't have snapshotting, then it would just last for 4 seconds, whether or not I started Whirlwind when I had it, and that would be how long I would be doing the bonus damage.
That's good.
So in general, when it comes to snapshotting, we want to really remove it from the game as much as we can.
Yep.
It does allow for some kind of
Makes
cool
sense.
things, but generally snapshotting is used to do really kind of undesirable behavior, whether it's unequipping and re-equipping gear at certain times or using certain effects at certain
Sounds
times.
too broken
to
to
get
me.
way more power than a player should normally be able to be. And it results in things like people.
Thank you, Adam, for saving us.
Like that,
Woo.
in unintuitive ways.
He's a cool guy.
We fixed every case that's been reported to us so far, and we'll continue to. And we're going to move toward more of a systemic approach.
Nice.
Zeiss
approves.
Also for the gauntlet, because we know that a few people were concerned about the gauntlet and how snapshotting would be able to work there.
Yeah,
in the gauntlet,
I agree.
Your gear, the skill tree, and the Paragon board cannot be changed.
Yes!
So you can't do any weird things.
So, more characters, Zeiss.
Like that to try and gain an advantage. What you bring into the gauntlet is basically going to be locked. So it'll be a fair place for people to compete.
Nice. So I'm gonna keep farming Duriel to get more Shakos, more Doombringers and stuff.
Found an issue where the
more Starless Skies.
Dipping on critical strike damage bonuses, particularly when you mixed weapon mastery and the precision key passive.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
Do way more damage than
I remember people reporting it.
Another bug fix that is coming
especially there is this guy Zario. He goes deep into those things. You might want to check him out. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
Yeah, the Seneschal class. Yeah. So really, we've resolved quite a few different bugs and also reduced the power of some things that were overperforming. The first one is that when you used basically AoE buffs like the Barbarian Warcry or the Druid's Blood Howl, the Seneschal would be double dipping in the amount of bonus that it would get in its damage bonus. So there.
Nice.
And next we did quite a bit of updates to some of the tuning stones.
Nothing that I'm using, so we're cool here.
Applying the base damage when it spreads, it's going to match more the functionality of other kind of damage over time tuning stones. The bleeding and burning support tuning stones were a little bit overpowered, so we're reducing the power of those a little bit as well.
Nice.
And then lastly, the Tempest Governing Stone was basically resulting in a situation where you could get unlimited damage bonuses by it constantly bouncing and getting more and more and more.
Nice. That's a really good fix. So yeah, thank you Blizzard for finally doing those things, right? Those are really cool fixes.
So next, let's get into the class updates. So we're going to start with the Barbarian.
Yeah, it's very overpowered.
Every single class.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm
First bullet, very powerful.
First thing, I'm finally glad that, and I really appreciate it, that that's the first thing they brought on the table here. Right now, very powerful. I mean, come on. You just walk in, kill everything, and there also, I see people reporting bots on softcore, like barbarians doing the same thing over and over again in groups. Guys, no, come on. It's a game. I mean, if you want to get something in the game, go grind it, right? That's just bullshit. But anyway, on topic. Right now, it's very powerful. It's not only very powerful, it is also the most powerful, and they made it even more powerful than the previous season. Like, compared to other classes, it's too overpowered, especially when it uses overpower. Well, yeah, makes sense.
So it's pretty good right now.
As many of you, I'm sure know.
Yeah, you can one-shot everything. That's not good. That's not good for a game.
People really like charge. It turns out it's a really strong skill.
It's a fun skill.
Probably the biggest update you're going to see here, the next bullet point, is
nerf damage.
Really planning to nerf charge
minus. Oh, come on, man.
We had talked about kind of our bar for what we would consider to be too strong in the game, where we
nerf 10 times at least.
Right up there. And we talked a lot as a design team and made a call that we were going to keep it for the rest of the season. So, you know, we know it's really, really good. It's really, really strong. A lot of people are having a lot of fun with it. We could have gone either way on this, so we're open to feedback of what the community thinks. But now with the launch of the Gauntlet, we're going to keep it in and kind of see how it rides out. We've been seeing over time that other classes have found things that are also really, really powerful too. So we're gonna try out the season and see how it goes.
Okay, they wanna like make sure they nerf it the proper way, like not too much. I get it. That's cool. It's actually also cool that they decide to not destroy people's fun. That's also a really good choice, and they're gonna like probably keep monitoring how barbarians are doing, and like they said, open to feedback. That's pretty good. So this way they can nerf it properly. I'm pretty sure that's their goal here. Let's see.
So we're going to be buffing up a lot of their basic skills to make the early game
barbarian early game sucks a lot.
And then we're also doing
of course
some
I played
some
it.
underused skills and upgrades. There's some examples here. We've got strategic ground stomp. The ultimate cooldown reduction is being doubled from 1 to 2 seconds.
Makes sense.
One of the iron skin upgrades and the upgrade for
it should be buffed. Yeah, because barbarian early on sucks a lot. But why do they increase the damage on this?
Kind of a story history in our game. Yeah, it was really, really good when the game launched. And now we brought it down quite a bit, and now we're increasing its power a little bit again to bring back Whirlwind builds. So the ranks of Whirlwind are going up from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, and we're increasing the amount of the explosion damage a little bit there as well. Nice. So really, when it comes to what you look forward to Barbarian, it's really everything, because we're not nerfing charge, but also their early game and Whirlwind builds will be a little bit better as well. And again, when we're going through all these updates for the classes, this isn't everything that we're showing you. You'll be able to see
Sorcerer is very OP, especially lightning and fire.
This is just a sneak peek of some of the things that are happening. So there is a little bit more for everything, I think, than what we're showing today. So next we got the Sorceress. So Incinerate is a skill that we know people have had kind of a hard time really getting a lot of effectiveness out of. So we're increasing basically everything across the board. The damage is going
Makes
up.
Sense.
All of its upgrades are going up. So Incinerate players should be rejoicing. We've also got quite a few buffs to Conjuration skills coming in. So for people who are using Conjurations.
Oh, only Hydra is good, I think.
Really generically used, underused passives and Paragon Glyphs. So really across the board, you're just going to see some buffs to various things.
Alright.
So here again, for Sorc players, Incinerate and really Conjurations are the things that you have to look forward to.
Probably Hydra is going to be
and next we've got the Druid.
better now, we'll see. Probably not going to be just leveling
so
skill.
Similar to the Barbarian, you know, the Druids, we've gotten feedback that they kind of, you know, they have a really, really strong late game, but their early game getting there can be a little bit tedious to go. So
yeah, just use Lightning Storm.
We gave an example here for the Druid with Wind Shear, so you can see here the Spirit generation is going up, the damage is being
That's good.
And the
That's good.
Wild Wind Shear upgrade, which gives you more Spirit when you hit enemies, is also going up.
Okay,
so really
makes sense, especially if you want to channel lightning, because it
destroys
mana.
Pretty consistently
Spirit.
That they really want to make a companion build
resource.
Really work and feel good. So we've got some damage.
Yeah, companions, like minions and companions in this game, they're not so good. So, okay, Poison Creeper, that's good.
Additional buffs to some underused passives.
Which ones?
And then last but not least, the Storm's
they don't say.
Unique. So this is the one that makes your wolves howl when they do some lightning damage in an AoE. The ranks of wolves that you're getting is going to be increased from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And then also the Storm Howl damage, that happens when the lightning bolts come down, is being increased by a lot. And so you could see here...
Enhance. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, before it was doing, like, you know, in this example at this level, like 100 to maybe 400 damage, 150 to 400. And now it's going to be doing closer to 8 to 1300 damage per strike. And these things strike multiple times.
It was really powerful before this buff, so I imagine it will be way more powerful even than Blood Surge now.
Your early game will feel better
of the Necromancer.
Build, and then companions and especially wolves are going to be quite a bit more powerful.
User scenario is pretty much similar. Okay.
Next we've got the Rogue.
Yeah, there are many things to fix there. On the Rogue.
Their attack speeds are being increased. So, you know, when it comes to basic skills, a lot of people gravitate to
okay. Rogue is getting quite a buff here with this.
Also, you're able to stutter step, and it feels really good when you cast it.
And you're just throwing knives.
Yes. And
yeah, puncture is much better.
On every skill,
yeah.
But I also think arrows are kind of cool.
I just think there's areas for improvement.
So maybe knives.
I should maybe try a ranged Rogue.
But anyways, as far as how it feels to use, the 2 arrow skills should feel exactly the same as Puncture as far as how you're able to stutter step, how quickly you're able to cast them. They've been made to match. And then we also heard some feedback that Flurry isn't really feeling as good compared to the other core skills, so we're increasing its damage. And then we're also improving the functionality of both of its upgrades. They're just going to be a little bit more usable.
Yeah, Flurry was not so good.
And then Precision,
I remember actually, let me pause this here a little bit. When I was playing the beta of the game with Rogue, well, not only Rogue, I played all the classes, of course, not only in the beta, but I remember when playing Flurry Rogue in the beta, it was really hard to defeat the first boss you encounter. That's the Foul, right? And that demon with the pentagram and all that, the very, very first elite, actually, is a Foul, which whose ring we actually use on dot builds, right? So that's the thing. It's a really good buff for rogues. Zeiss approves, definitely.
Required for bonuses from 6 to 4, so this is a buff to Precision. It's really meant to help with actually the rhythm and the way that you feel when you cast it. That
I don't know. This feels to be very powerful, but we'll see.
And then last but not least, we got the aspect of branching volleys. We're kind of redesigning or upgrading this legendary quite a bit. This is with Barrage. When your Barrage arrows bounce, they do more damage, but now we're actually adding a little bit more to it.
Just damage
so you can
increase.
See here on the left is kind of the old version, which basically said that your arrows had a chance to split into 2 arrows whenever they ricochet.
Oh ho!
I love that zoom in.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So now, right,
that would be really good for rogues now.
The base damage of ricocheting arrows from
okay, it will actually make it quite powerful now.
A chance to split into 2, but that chance has also been increased by quite a bit.
Yeah.
So really, this legendary just wasn't very powerful, being used very much, and now it should be quite a bit better.
Feels like faster clear rogues.
The 4-2 really range builds.
That's really good.
Gonna feel pretty good, and then Flurry as well is getting quite a big increase.
Let me pause this again. I am really appreciating the effort here, because sometimes when I go farm stuff and I'm noticing rogues which are farming and they have a really hard time doing fast clear, right? So now you can use the skill to actually farm faster. Because, for example, with my farming necromancer, speed farming necromancer Zeiss, I just walk around, push a button, the screen dies. It's kind of not fair to the other classes, but that's maybe like one of the benefits of being necromancer. It farms really, really quickly. Well, probably not compared to like sorcerer with high end game gear equipment, but that's like that's the cool thing about it. With Bloodthirst Necromancer, you don't need anything. You just need higher mobility, like movement speed on boots, on the amulet. You just walk around, you push a button, the screen dies, you collect things, you move on, you do it over and over again. While the other classes don't really have such an option, except maybe Druid with Lightning Storm, and now also Rogue will have this. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, looking forward.
And last but not least, we have the Necromancer, and we have a lot to cover here with Necromancer, so hold on.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Giant block of text here.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, Minion sucks, and Necromancer needs a lot of love from the developers. I think it's actually the weakest class in the game compared to the others, especially Barbarian. It's like they're playing a totally different game here. So let's see what they did. Especially Minions, they need a lot of attention. And also darkness builds, shadow builds on the Necromancer, they are very weak. Not only because it's mostly not burst direct damage, but some things are quite underpowered, like especially physical builds, right? They're just way too powerful compared to shadow builds. So let's see.
Well, really, their damage is being increased by about 20% just across all minions.
Nice.
Their health is going up by about 10%.
Okay, that's good.
Here you can see are being increased. We got Helm, then Commander, Cult Leader.
Yep.
Corporeal is a pretty big one. I think
Cult Leader.
We'll be able to look forward to. So before it was that you and your minions just deal increased physical damage. Now it's also going to be giving you increased move speed for every active minion.
Yes.
So
Necromancers.
Oh ho!
Builds will be catching up with their
That's pretty good.
As they go through the game.
That's pretty good actually, because I use Corporeal with Bomb Prison, and Bomb Prison counts as 6 minions. And especially having in mind that what was the passive? I forgot, but it's like on the bottom on the tree. I forgot its name right now. Not Memento Mori, it was the one before. Whatever, but what it does is when you have active minions, it decreases your damage reduction, and being able to move faster actually would help a lot with this glyph. Because I tend to only use Bomb Prison to keep enemies at bay, like too far away for a ranged build. That's pretty good. So being able to also run faster while having Bomb Prison active, that would definitely help a lot with at least what I'm doing with those skills, glyphs, and things, right? So okay, let's move on. That's actually a pretty good change.
where they were spawning too few corpses, and now they're going to be
Really good change. The Necromancer needs more
and
mobility.
also just talking
It
about
was
minions
never a
bit,
mobility
minions
class,
is one of
but
our big
still, that's pretty good.
to kind of make feel really good. We think that the issue with minions is not just that they're not dealing enough damage, but also we want to increase kind of the cool factor in the way that you engage with them, particularly the golem. So
Yep. So now those changes will actually allow you to not focus on making minions too strong, like too powerful, and you can actually focus more on your character, on the actual necromancer, to make it tougher and harder to kill. Especially that's really important for hardcore because you have to focus on not dying. But if your minions are weak and constantly dying, and not delivering the damage output that you actually need in order to clear and progress. And you have to focus more on them instead of the actual character, and that makes minion builds really tough to actually build, right? To actually play with them. Okay, let's see.
have quite a bit more coming in season 4 that I wanted to let everybody know about. But this is kind of a little bit of a taste of what we plan to do with this.
Okay, Reapers, they now
initial
spawn the
volume
proper
changes.
amount.
We have a
All
lot
right.
coming in season 4 in addition to this.
Yeah, that would be great. Looking forward.
And then next, we've got also buffs and functionality adjustments to a bunch of other things. One example here with a passive spiked armor. It kind of makes sense that it would give you armor. So now it's also going to give you armor in addition to thorns.
Okay, that's great.
Reach is a passive that will redesign
Wait.
completely.
Now that this provides armor, this actually makes it really cool. This actually makes it very usable now. So, especially early on while leveling, we don't have to focus on armor. We can also focus on resistances and other defenses and actually use this instead. That's pretty good. Zeiss absolutely approves this change. It was actually needed a lot, and we don't need to sacrifice our mobility even further by using Juggernaut, especially early on. So yeah, that's really good change. Really good.
Used to be that you dealt more damage
Well
to
thought
enemies
of.
that are far away. Now we're changing it to be Death's Advance, which really just gives you move speed. So now,
yes,
Necromancer players will have a way to just put 3 points in a passive and get
okay, now this even that makes even more sense, especially having in mind we will probably not be using the aspect of slaughter anymore, and we'll be using the metamorphosis aspect to again not use the bullshit skill Blood Mist, and now we can get the mobility from this and the defenses from the spiked armor, and actually this is really good change. Necromancers are finally getting a lot of love from the developers. They finally realized what's wrong with Necromancer, and I think all players should actually appreciate this really highly. And let's see what comes next.
Great, yeah.
Core skill buffs.
We've also got some core skill buffs, particularly to Blight, Blood Surge, and Sever.
Okay, let's pause again. That's again a really good change and quite a necessary change, especially having in mind exactly those skills need the higher damage output. And now I'm guessing with this change, those builds relying on those core skills would be much better. So for example, what am I doing to make my Blood Surge Necromancer really good at damage output? Now I'm using I am using the Shaco. I am also using the Doombringer to drastically increase my health and damage. And this is how Blood Build actually increased damage by also having more health. But Blight, it was terrible. It had to rely on too many passive bonuses to be triggered. and also sever. It doesn't make things enemies vulnerable every time, just every third time. So you have to rely on very high crowd control and both curses and stuff like that. Tendrils, so that's a really good thing, and especially having in mind it doesn't have really good direct damage. It's actually getting better with too many glyphs and too much investment, like too high gear requirements in order to be effective as the other core skills. So Zeiss totally approves this change, definitely.
There's some number buffs, and I think even some like functionality and other tweaks to make the bulk of them feel a lot better.
Alright.
Similarly, when it comes to Necromancer players,
movement speed
is the name of the game here, and also minion
I mean,
feel quite a bit better than before.
Okay, let me pause again just to like note something here. You very well know probably that I am playing in group in this game only when bosses have to be dealt with. Like for example, Duria or Malphas, just for the sake of the group advantage, right? Because the group can summon the boss more times. So this will usually result in higher chance to get what you want from the bosses and not having to deal with them again. But what I noticed when I play with my necromancers in group, I'm usually the slowest character in the group. Every time. Just unacceptable for me, and probably that's really hard for other players when I group with them. So let's see. What else?
And lastly, we wanted to talk with you all a little bit about how we do our updates.
Right on time, right?
We've run into a issue, not really an issue, but a situation that happens pretty commonly. So normally when we think about updates, in our last live stream, we talked about how, we kind of made a promise with you that at the start of every season, every class was going to get at least one new legendary and one new unique. And what happens sometimes is we'll have a new legendary or a new unique in the pipe, and we have a cool idea, we've made a new design for something, like I'll give an example, let's say Fireball Sorcerer, right? We have a really cool new legendary for Fireball Sorcerer that we've put in, we've play tested it, it's ready to go, but we don't have a new legendary for every other class to go with it, right? And we kind of run into the situation where we have to decide, like, is it okay to put something into the game when one class will get more than other classes, right? We tend to try and keep things mostly equal when it comes to these updates. And so we kind of wanted to hear your feedback a little bit of would you be okay and would it be cool with the community if when we have more than, the equal amount of other classes of updates to do, that we just put them in when they're ready, or should we wait until, everybody kind of has parity on things?
Well, let me tell you one thing. Barbarian is still way too powerful. And the other thing is, it's totally fine if the balance is slightly off, because they're obviously different classes. Some should have different advantages over the other. But in general, the idea here, which they're trying to go to, I think, is to kind of equalize the amount of effort and skill and playtime required to achieve certain goals in the game and actually have fun. And that you should not feel like, oh, I should play the new meta because it's like the best thing in the game. And I should like feel stupid for not doing so. So eventually, I think they will get there. I just hope it doesn't take them like 10 years or something, like they did in Diablo 3. Like also, please bring a solo mode, right? But anyway, yeah, let's move on. Let's not waste more time here. So far, so good. It's like really good changes, and I'm glad that they finally kind of listened. And looks like they very well know what they're doing.
The other situation where this comes up quite a bit is where, like, we know that a build really needs some help. Like, I'll use Frozen Orb as an example, right? Where Frozen Orb, we want to make a new playstyle for Frozen Orb, and we want to add like 2 legendaries and a unique to really make this thing sing, right? Like just adding one power isn't enough to make this whole playstyle work.
Yep.
And so would it be okay
usually
if,
it goes like that?
You've seen the patch notes in the season that Sorcerer gets 2 uniques and 4 legendaries, and everybody else just gets 1, but we've enabled this really cool thing? Or do you think it's smarter for us to just kind of wait until every class can get a cool new thing of that equivalent amount?
Yeah, maybe it's better to wait till every class can get that kind of equivalent, just because of what I said earlier.
We're kind of leaning towards just putting things in when they're ready, But we wanted to turn this into a conversation and let you, the community, kind of have your voice as well.
Yeah.
How you want us to put these things.
Yeah, get some feedback. We're interested in this.
Yeah. So post live stream, or I know we know that the conversations will come up regarding this specific topic, and so we'll be looking around and kind of gathering community feedback on like what you guys prefer, and kind of going with that, you know, and listening in on what you guys actually want us to do. So please chime into different conversations that you guys see related to that topic, because we'll most definitely be checking it out and paying attention. So and this is just a small.
I think they should do it all the time, because let people have actually choice, right? Because you should not let people feel stupid for not playing the new top meta and broken build, which will be eventually nerfed and all that. Because guys, come on, those are the game developers. They know what's possible in the game. When some content creator is presenting the new meta or the new broken build that you should definitely play and all that, you know where I'm going? This kind of obliterates the player choice and it makes the player feel as if guilty for not doing what this top-notch creator did, you know? It's better to deliver equal at the time, equalize things. But let's see what will happen, because sometimes those things are actually only just good dreams. But yeah, sweet dreams. And let's
as
see.
Adam mentioned, this is just a small piece of what we're actually including in the mid-season update. The full patch notes are actually going to be out tomorrow. So we'll end up posting all those before the weekend.
Okay.
Players can check out the full entire patch notes.
So guys, expect video on that as well.
All the vampiric powers. It also includes Gauntlet, which we're about to showcase here. So it's a pretty beefy mid-season update. And just a reminder, people as well,
it's gonna be a long thing.
Well, there's a lot of changes in this mid-season update. What we talked about at the beginning of season 3 is like the cadence of how we plan on doing these updates. You know, we plan on doing pretty significant changes, of course, at the start of the season, because it's a brand new season, so it makes sense there. And then, you know, we take the time to evaluate, and then we make pretty significant changes in mid-season updates as well, based off of feedback that we saw since the start of the season. And of course, you know, once we get into a new season, things change again, and you know, meta changes and class balance changes occur then. So players can expect to see that there. There is the rare occurrence, as like for instance, that you know we'll be monitoring feedback if something does come up that is like absolutely like breaking or whatever, that we may end up making a tweak on based off of community feedback. But that is typically the cadence that we had talked about at the beginning of the season, and we just want to remind players like you can always expect these big moments during the beginning and the middle part of the season for it.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So. The next thing we did.
I was about to say that, man.
You know, this is a long-anticipated feature. It is the leaderboard feature, essentially, within Diablo 4. We actually,
I guess it's important.
A cool like
long-awaited.
Want to show you guys here. We have 3 different devs that are.
We're going to show you a showcase.
We're going to show you a showcase.
Just this once.
Showcase. But we have 3 different devs that are going to be joining us, and they're going to be running through their build specifically through the Gauntlet itself. And we are joined by 2 Diablo partners, 2 Diablo content creators, who are going to be commentating through this. This is Anna Cake Live and Macro Bioboy. Thank you guys very much.
It's going to be very funny. Those guys are,
of course, from
laughable.
Like here within Irvine, so they'll be playing live.
One of them is a girl, actually.
Irvine, California.
She's fun, but the other one is.
So we actually have John Constable, who is on the engineering team here for Diablo 4. We have Liam Kerr, who's a associate class designer on the design team here for Diablo 4. And we have Steven Stewart, who some people may recognize as Leviathan, a former Diablo content creator, or maybe still a Diablo content creator. He's like behind the camera, I don't know, who will also be running through his build through the Gauntlet, so you guys can actually check it out. But what we do want to do is we do want to hand it off to Anna Cake Live and Macro Bioboy, who will be running us through some of this Gauntlet stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll give you guys a few little updates about Season 4 and do some Q&A. So,
okay.
Anna, take it away.
Thank you so much, Adam. Hi everyone. I am Anna Cake Live, and I'm incredibly happy to be here today. And together with my friend Macro, I'm happy to first time see and comment on showcase of the Gauntlet.
Hi everybody, I'm Macro Bioboy. I'm your friendly neighborhood necromancer. Yeah, Anna, this is wildly exciting. It's so great that the players finally get to get their eyes on what we're going to be expecting coming out next week. We have the Gauntlet Showcase, 3 amazing developers. These people, they're going to show you all the stops, and we're going to be able to help to kind of bridge the gap, bring you some of that information about the mechanics that are going on, what you're actually seeing, and what you can expect as well. So it looks like, first off, and I'm already incredibly excited for this because you know I'm a Necro Boy here, we're going to be showcasing Liam Kerr on the Bone Spear Necromancer. This is like the build I'm the most excited for, and it looks like we're actually all set to hop right in. So let's go ahead and give him a second to hop into the gameplay here.
Bone Storm and Blood Mist. Noob, don't worry.
Thing that we see the boss and we just skip the boss. The Necromancer is just running, skipping the boss, proceeding into the dungeon, and apparently trying to get. I already see here is the first shrine. Macron, tell me something about this shrine and about this necromancer. I know that you definitely want to share with us.
Range build who fights close combat. Really good necromancer
so
player here, guys.
Deep into the necromancer, let's basically just talk about what you're looking at in the
no words.
I
mean, come on.
Possible. Every monster that you kill, every boss that you kill, as well as some chests that we're going to see later on, are going to be dropping proofs of might.
I should refrain from making such comments because, you know, let them play the way they want.
And strategy is what we care about the most.
It looks like very embarrassing to me to play like this.
24, so this is similar to a Nightmare Dungeon 70 in difficulty. That means that you don't have to worry about survivability or crazy damage numbers. You need to be doing just enough to be able to kill things as you run and gun.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you one-shot them or one-shot them, guys.
These unique shrines in the Gauntlet itself. We have 2 new additions to the game. One is going to be a shrine that's going
but his damage is extremely low.
In the dungeon.
Looks like.
That's right. It's not just about getting through the dungeon as fast as possible. It's about getting through it multiple times over. Secondly, we have another shrine which is actually going to increase how much score you get.
I'm gonna pause this because this is obviously someone who doesn't know how to play Bone Spear. Bone Spear is a ranged build. Does not necessarily require Bone Storm, only on like low tier stuff, and absolutely does not require Blood Mist. Let me tell you why, and also let me tell you why you will never, absolutely never see big damage numbers on Bone Spear. So, the trick with Bone Spear, especially when playing it with the build enabling unique the Deathless Visage, is that it has these explosions when the splinters return. So the trick with Bone Spear is actually to play it as a range build for what it was, basically for what it is, right? And in order to deliver like the most damage output, you have to aim at 2 certain radiuses. So your enemies should be within the radius of between the first and second explosion or between the second and third explosions. And you should stack critical strike damage and critical strike damage with bone skills, because the helmet increases the damage of those explosions by 5% multiplicatively, if I'm not mistaken, for every 30% critical strike damage. And the critical strike damage with bone skills here is also comes into play because it's additive to the critical strike damage output. So the important thing here is to get as much critical strike chance as possible, and also like get it on at least one of the rings, because the other ring should be the Sacrilegious Soul, obviously, right? And you should also get it on your gloves, but also potentially on your shield if you're not using the Lidless Wall. Like in this case, it's obviously with Lidless Wall. And the thing here is to aim between like exactly on those radiuses I commented on. That's usually the distance from the character to the health bar of the enemy. That's one of the radiuses, and the other one is slightly lower, right? Or it's kind of a thing which not many players are actually understanding, and they are wondering why the fuck do I have damage problem? My gear is really cool, I am skillful in the game and all that, but this is usually what many, if not most, if not all, well, not all, because I already know this. But that's the thing with Bone Spear, and it's quite obvious this player here has no idea, absolutely no idea how to play Bone Spear Necromancer, not to mention they're obviously playing on softcore, but the important thing here is to showcase what to expect in the gauntlet, and let's not distract ourselves with such tiny details about this build, right? Let's move on.
Complete any of those objectives that I just saw. And then
I mean, come on, guys. Blizzard, man. You should have picked someone who actually knows what they're doing. Like, I'm not pointing out myself here, but just come on. Yeah, I get it now. I get it now. They want us to actually discover this, or maybe I just give them too much credit. I don't know which one it is yet, but again, the guy who's playing this Necromancer, no idea what they're doing.
we actually have
Absolutely no clue.
Normal shrines as well.
Poor mind.
Dropping off the bosses, Anna. What can you tell us more about these shrines? What people need to worry about strategizing with them?
Oh yeah, that's the whole discount.
No offense, guys.
About the strategy.
Right.
The shrines gonna be always the same. They're gonna appear in the same places, and the shrines that gonna be dropping from the bosses that also will be the same. Then
okay, so once you play it through just once, you know what to do to get better at this.
Are you planning to use those shrines? When are you planning to use those shrines? Once again, the shrines, the special shrines from this gauntlet, they will be either resetting all the monsters in the dungeon, and here we see our necromancer just killed the boss first time, resetted this boss, and he's going back and killing him again and getting a lot of proofs of might, increasing his score. By the way, necromancer current score is already 58k. We are going not bad. We are progressing further into the dungeon. The map will always stay the same in this dungeon. It will stay the same for a week, so you can plan your path. You can always choose your way how you will be progressing in this dungeon. And here we see the second shrine, the second pylon our necromancer touched.
So to talk a little bit more about the Bone Spear Necromancer, because I could go on and on and on about this build.
I highly doubt it.
It's basically going to be everybody's first attempt at what the best meta approach to this content is.
I think the Blood Search will have higher success rate on this.
Spread damage across the battlefield.
No,
so whether you're
not really.
Monsters,
I think that actually this guy has no idea what he's talking about either. But I guess because unlike me, he's playing on PC, and he can actually check like tooltips and damage numbers and all that, and maybe has the time to do the math better, because I don't have access to those kind of things because I'm playing on PlayStation, and actual data and details are very limited, and but we'll get there, don't worry. We'll prove them wrong. It's quite obvious they have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah.
And gunning back behind you, kind of training monsters along. Players of Diablo 3 would have seen similar strategies in Greater Rifts, kind of bringing all of your monsters together before you waste any time actually killing them. But
unless you one-shot them to death, right? It's tier 70, nothing fancy. Bone Spear Necromancer could easily do like over 2 million damage per hit. So what's the big deal, guy? I mean...
whether or not you're just, like, front-loading all of your damage and blasting through bosses so that you have that shrine moving forward. Like here we have the Blast Wave Shrine, right? This basically means that the Necromancer will be able to kill as they run, not worrying about having to spend any animation time actually casting their spells themselves. And I think that this is something that people are going to want to really
which with a lot of attack speed is not a problem, right?
The same every single week. So literally every monster is
we'll see though. I guess score will talk for itself. I will refrain from making such comments right now.
So
because, they might turn out to be better. Who knows?
It's about picking every single time you spend any time at all, casting a skill, doing damage, or moving. And I definitely think that Bone Spear Necromancer is uniquely positioned in this way to be able to keep that constant momentum in damage output.
Yeah, especially with those new changes about movement speed. We'll see.
Really good current score we have, 41k. We are going absolutely not bad. And guys, you can see in the corner there are the keys. We don't have yet any keys, but hopefully we're gonna get them soon. You probably also saw that in this dungeon there are
He's
special
probably using
chests, white chests, and a little bit
yep,
later I think we're gonna
Shaco,
see
right?
yellow chest. The chests, obviously, they
I don't
have
see
a lot of useful
explosions here.
mites. They're helping you to
What a guy.
increase your total score. To get the keys, you need to kill some special monsters. The monsters are staying the same, but when you're entering the dungeon, you don't know which monster it is. You will also have to first run a couple of times through the dungeons, kill all the monsters, find out who is actually dropping the key, and probably focus on those monsters also. Keep in mind that you need probably kill them, couple of them, to be able to open the chests. By the way, we went right back to the beginning of the dungeon, and probably our necromancer now decided to finish our first boss, our Tom Lord, that is waiting here. We have
it's really
2
important.
minutes.
Also, look at what they're doing. On the splinters returning, they're not optimally delivering damage here. You saw it, right? It's only one splinter hitting the enemy. Again, I'm gonna repeat it again. This player has no idea how to play Necromancer and the Bone Spear build. And especially, look at this. He's wasting a skill slot with Blood Mist, and he actually used it one time in the entire dungeon, which was also not necessary to do so. Not to mention, his defenses are way too low for this dungeon. Like, any hit he takes literally obliterates his health sphere, like the health bar there. It's, I think, not good enough. At least not in my book. And not to mention, it's obvious, right below the minimap, they're playing softcore, and this kind of achievements just don't count here. It's Zeiss is not impressed, simply put.
30 seconds
Absolutely not impressed.
30 seconds left.
It's really important to recognize
Quite the contrary,
that,
though.
So the Tomb Lord is a boss that is notorious for moving.
Look at
If
this.
you're a boss,
Look at how he fights. He fights with the ranged build right next to the enemy. I mean, come on, guy. Is that really the best you can do?
that
I mean,
moves, you're basically the antithesis of a Bone Spear Necro. Wants to keep you in
it's
a very
actually
specific
very funny
focus.
to watch
So
this.
maybe it's not kill
It's
every single
as if a
necro boss.
5-year-old
Maybe it's not
plays the
whittle
game.
down every single boss as you go. Since you know
Just
where the
saying.
ones that are going to be the easiest for you to take out, you can make that part of your overall strategy. And running through these sections again and again, getting as much score as possible. Probably the best part about all of this, and it's something that like you might not have picked up on immediately, you notice that every single time you kill a monster, like we just saw there, the score automatically flies into you. So this isn't like running a normal dungeon where you have to go back and pick up those 2 veiled crystals that you happen to notice drop. Your only concern
Who does
is
that?
running
I
through
mean,
this at
after a couple of hours, you have after a couple of hours of season start, you have no veiled crystals to craft for like 5 characters already. What the fuck are you talking about, guy?
speed,
I mean,
killing demons as you go.
I'm actually really glad that Blizzard chose such noobs to showcase and explain this, because I feel like they actually want us to discover what's best and what's optimal. And to be honest, my humble opinion here is that that's definitely not it.
And the automatic pickup of score, the ability to know exactly where everything is, having that
Yeah,
fully explored, and then
really
eventually
good.
memorizing it as the week goes on, means that players are going to continue to get higher and higher scores as we optimize our builds, and as we bring better strategies and better timing, better routes through this. It really calls back
Oh,
to my
he actually
history
said
in
something
Diablo 2
useful
and a little
now.
bit in
You should
Diablo
pay
4,
attention
where
to
every
what he
one of these
says. And sometimes, the multiverse has this special skill to put in our lives some really good examples of what not to do and what exactly to avoid. This guy here is an extremely good example of that. So, guys, take note.
little decisions that you're making could be the difference between ranking top 1 on the leaderboards or just barely cracking through to that
Who
top
cares
1,000.
about ranking,
But
man?
we're honestly seeing a really great showing from the Necromancer here. 1 minute left. We've just about cracked.
Okay, that's totally confirmed that I don't know exactly. That's the macro bio boy, right? So yet another confirmation that this player and this creator have absolutely no idea what is actually going on, and what's best, what's optimal, and all that. So I guess if you follow that creator, just say hi from Zeiss. don't curse at them, right? Just don't. Just tell hi from Zeiss, and tell them to pick up a banana and peel it and have fun and all that and enjoy it.
100,000
You know,
score.
you
That's
get
actually
you
pretty
get the point,
impressive for
right?
this
Pun
build.
intended.
I think that Liam's doing a fantastic job showcasing what I think most Necro players' first experience is going to be walking into this contest.
No, mine is gonna be totally different. I can assure you of that.
And guys, we
I can
just
assure you of that.
home. Guys, you saw that there were a lot of chests, but still don't have the keys. And Necromancer needs to
Pretty sure
go
mine
to
is
the
going to
dungeon,
be
search for
absolutely
keys,
different.
probably search for the shrines, probably
Mm.
reset. The
By the
Phoenix
way,
Forge
folks,
will be reset.
do you notice here the senescential construct in this dungeon? Do you notice the senescential construct?
In the monsters once again, and probably you cannot open the chest, but you will be able to kill a lot of monsters and also increase the total amount, your current score.
Okay, there it is.
We are almost reaching 200k, really close, and we have 10 seconds.
I don't think he's using optimal stones for this build either,
Come on,
but
Necro, get
we'll
over
see.
200k. Oh, and this is one of the issues that you run into. You know, if you've already cleared out that part of the dungeon, going back through it and kill, you know, there's no more monsters for you to kill. But a great showing from the Necromancer. And can you tell me a little bit more about the screen that we're looking at right here?
Okay.
We are looking on our total results screen. You can see here your total score. You can see here the amount of monsters that you killed, all the elite monsters that you killed, and all the bosses that you defeated, all the information. And you also can see the information about what you reached, which seal you reached. And our Necromancer, yep, Macro was absolutely right here. Our Necromancer was showing insanely good gameplay, seal of the worthy. This is the highest seal
Okay, if they say so.
as a player. Tell us more about
Very hard to not laugh right now, guys. Honestly.
how they're gonna work.
If you've seen me play, you
So you
probably
start
know
all the way
why.
down from Seal of the Blooded and then all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. What this basically means is that just running through the gauntlet at all is going to get you that first seal, but you're going to have to crack through higher and higher amounts of total score to rank up to the highest seal. The reason why you want to do that, it's not just bragging rights, as much as the majority of this truly is, but at the end of the week, not only are you going to get a cash just for running the gauntlet every time, you know, a small amount of items just to say like, hey, good job, you spent your time. But on top of that,
probably gonna
if
run
you
this
actually reach
non-stop.
the end of the week and you've reached the Seal of the Worthy, you're going to get all of the caches for the 4 seals below that. You're going to get automatic 925 item power that can be ancestral legendaries. It can even increase all the way up to a unique. So
yeah, I just hope it's not like the seasonal journey completion. Absolutely worthless. Let's see.
It's a much better incentive for people who don't just care about the ego part of it. You know, they're like, hey, I participate. I want to get something out of it. You do too. And being able to get that loot at the end of the week is that nice little cherry on top.
Yeah, and I think that we are ready.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to be nice to people who are like below your level because it's very difficult to understand how and where their bullshit inspiration comes from and how could they not actually see things for what they are. And it's, I don't know, it's like standing in awe, waiting to figure out, like it's hard for you to figure out how could they come up with such kind of bullshit. That's harder to understand than how to be more optimal and better and actually improve and stuff like that, you know. It's really a tough thing to observe.
Second player. We're gonna be joined really, really soon by the ball lightning sorcerers, guys. John Constable, senior gameplay engineer, gonna be showing us the sorcerers gameplay, the sorcerers gauntlet. Let's go.
Let me guess.
Yeah, we are starting, guys.
Let me guess. Oculus Lightning build, right? Let's see if that's it. Let's see. Probably that's it.
Yeah, entering once again our gauntlet. Once again, guys, the same map, the same big boss is waiting for you right
Okay.
Also, our sorcerers choosing the same gameplay, the same decision was made, skipping the first boss, moving further into the dungeon, trying to get the second boss, probably some pillars. That's an interesting strategy here. And guys, this is a ball lightning sorceress.
Okay,
this
ball
is
lightning.
Community beloved build that in season 2, I don't know, absolutely everyone.
Yeah, people like broken and OP because they don't have time figuring out stuff, you know.
Incinerate, so
I guess.
Incinerate was buff. But yeah, here we have Ball Lightning, and Ball Lightning using Tal Rush's Spring to buff your Ball Lightning damage with the power of the multiple elements. Yep. Here we go. One more boss.
So look at this now. They skipped the first boss, right? They skipped the first boss to actually save time, but look at how much time it takes them to actually kill a boss. It's less than a second, and especially having in mind they can reset the monsters with that shrine later, it's I believe actually this run is already at a loss. It's not an optimal or a good run. So what they did just there to save half a second actually lost them a lot of score. So I don't know. That's what I think, but you should draw your own conclusions, right? Let's see.
The best part about, I mean, there's going to be strengths and weaknesses to every build, right? You're probably going to end up seeing a meta
No,
where there are builds that
that's
only care
actually,
about clearing.
listen, strengths and weaknesses, positives and negatives, this versus that. That's actually an extremely low level of looking at things. It's very basic. It's like below average intelligence level, right? So please avoid doing that. I would totally not recommend, because things are not just dualistic here. They have many sides, and we can focus on many things to actually make a build option like optimal here. No matter that some skill sets have only two choices, they can be complemented by many other things. So I guess pay more attention to what people do, but don't necessarily agree with them, especially with me. So I guess it's a good thing to know and have in mind while approaching this kind of content, right?
The trash that are primarily focused on getting those bosses dead and getting those shrines, because the shrines are going to give you power, obviously. They're also going to give you movement speed. I wouldn't be surprised if sneaking in some shrine duration buff onto either your amulet or your boots ends up being really powerful in the gauntlet here. That's a quick little pro tip from your boy. But there's not necessarily one right way to do this. On top of that, every
Oh, he finally said something else useful.
is actually judged individually. So
It's getting hard to
necromancers
believe he can actually do that.
other necromancers, sorceresses against other sorceresses, so on and so forth. So where some builds may not have the mobility, but they have the boss kill speed, or maybe they have the density clearing, but not the mobility, the exact strategy for each individual class is going to really make or break what ends up being the meta for the gauntlet, which is one of the things that I think is the most interesting.
There's no such thing as a meta for the gauntlet, guys. There's player skill and bullshit. And we all know this comes from a player who is not a total noob to only be able to play with top gear and amazing items and amazing build of the whatever guy came up with, right? So I slightly disagree with this statement right there. Even if some build is better than another in something, it's actually the player's hand, the player's skill, which determines the better result. No matter that the character is better equipped, like better geared, and has more optimal stuff in its arsenal. So let's see.
Whereas things like the Abattoir of Zir really just pushed us to the question of how do you do the most damage and survive the most damage? Here, some of those considerations aren't really as important. We're playing a
well, they are.
At this point. But the
Let me tell you why he is not correct here. But it doesn't matter if you one-shot things with 1 million damage or if you one-shot things with 2 million damage. You get the point, right? So those things actually matter here as well. Especially having in mind if you play hardcore, like me. You have to focus on certain things more, right? To make the build more optimal. Because if you play softcore and you can die for free, you can go full glass cannon, but then you risk to be killed if you neglect defenses, which is actually the most common mistake in action RPG games. So I slightly disagree on this again. Are they gonna say something useful again finally? Let's see.
Clearing. You notice that slowed down a little bit against that boss though. depending on the scenario, this might be one of those builds where you basically ignore the bosses whenever possible.
Why?
I mean, particularly juicy shrine that you
why? Again, guy, why ignore the bosses when you kill them for like half a second? Why the fuck ignore bosses? Anyone got a reasonable explanation? Let me know in the comments below, because I guess I'm stupid. I can't figure it out. Right? Ignore bosses. Ignore the highest score just because you're gonna waste like half a second on it. I don't know.
be able to use.
Please let me know, folks.
But here
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Favorite drops. We got the reset there, so he's actually able to pop right back into that room where he just got a shrine, kill this boss again.
Okay, that's really another boss, more tougher boss.
Going to develop as we get further and further into the season.
Yeah, here we see. Actually, yeah, our sorceress is going pretty good. Yeah, on the bosses. Probably, yeah, it's worth it to stay here. Again,
I don't know. Last boss I saw it killed took like half a second.
And guys, gonna tell you a little secret. You better not die in the gauntlet. Hardcore players, yeah, I understand, but
yeah, hardcore players will understand. If you die, you start over.
Third of your score, you're gonna respawn in the dungeon. You will be able to pick up your score, but only if you will run back to the place where you died. And yeah, this is again, you're wasting way too much time if you're dying in the gauntlet. Here, once again, our sorceress.
Dying in this game is really hard to achieve. Something has to be terribly wrong to actually die in this game.
Progressing further and further into the dungeon. One more pylon is waiting for us, and I want the chest. I want someone to finally open the chest. But yeah, so far, no one can get the key. The keys are quite rare. Only special monsters are dropping them. Here we go. 4 minutes.
Wait.
4 minutes.
Wait. Let's comment on this. Didn't they say that the Gauntlet dungeon gonna be every time the same? They did, right? So if the keys are very rare, they should be always on the same place, right? So if not, it's actually not really a fair competition as they actually said. Let's watch further for details, because this is really important. And this statement was kind of contradictory to what the developers said. So, again, it's very hard to not laugh at this, but let's see.
Yeah, so just over the halfway point, it does look like the sorceress, their natural mobility. I mean, she could teleport, right? That's obviously going to go a little bit faster than somebody running on their 2 legs. But already doing a really good showing. We're definitely going to crack over that 200k, probably closer to like maybe 300, depending on whether or not he turns on the turbo boosters here. But you're talking about those keys, and maybe I'm just going to spitball this while we're watching here. My mind's kind of already going crazy, theory crafting, trying to figure out what's going to be the best way here. But
I highly doubt it.
Chests, like you said, you have to kill specific monsters in the dungeon. They will drop the key. Now, there's the regular chest, there's a golden chest. Obviously, big gold chest, worth more points. But the interesting part here is that how valuable is that for you in your current route is going to completely depend on where you went first. Do you zerg your way all the way up to that key, knowing that you passed by a gold chest in your typical, fully optimized route? Or is that just not part of your strategy at all? There's an interesting dichotomy there where it's just like, depending on where the keys are spawning on the monsters in that week's gauntlet, maybe they are huge, maybe they're pivotal to how you can actually get the highest score possible. Or you kind of have to make the decision a couple of seconds left in your run. You're like, hey, I got 1 or 2 keys. I see a couple normal chests coming up. I know I'm not going to be able to reach the gold chests since those are in the same spots as well. I'm going to make that mad dash. I'm going to get back up into there, get those 2 little chests. Sure, that's like good enough for me on this run. But being able to make those decisions in the heat of the moment, or at least at first, when everybody doesn't necessarily have their best route already mapped out at that point, is going to be where those like small little spikes in score. I'm really excited to see the leaderboard as it develops. Obviously, you're going to be able to see the actual builds that people are bringing into the gauntlet on that same leaderboard.
Wait, about this, will we be able to also see the Paragon board? Or just the character inventory? Because if we are not able to see the skill tree, right, and also the specializations like Book of the Dead on the Necromancer, and if we are not able to see the Paragon board, what are we actually seeing? Every item that everyone is actually using, which is kind of not helpful. So again, if we don't see the abilities and the Paragon, it's watching their items is kind of useless to me at least.
How they ran through it, how they prioritize killing bosses versus the elites, etc. So there's still going to be a little bit of mystery. But at the very least, you'll be able to copy the build if you can at least see the gear that they have.
Yeah, if it's just the gear, it's like completely useless. Who cares about the gear? Good gear drops after 20 hours of playing the game, so
obviously will be super important. How quick are you? How quick you can kill the big groups of monsters? How quick you can kill the bosses? But your strategy, I think this will be the key. Your path through this dungeon, this will be deciding. And yes, the leaderboard will be moving from day one, and in the very last day, someone gonna sneak in and will be the top of the leaderboard. Yep, interesting times ahead. Our sorceress, guys, closing almost 200k, and we
okay, got it. What she said actually means do not bother check your score until after this thing is over, and then the new thing starts, right? The new dungeon. So it can drastically change with every run anyone is doing, so why bother wasting time with bullshit like this? Oh, I'm number 3. Oh, now I'm number 53. Who cares? Who cares, honestly?
Full room with a lot of chests. We had 2 keys. We opened one chest. We opened the second chest. We are getting
What's
lots
more
of
important
points.
here is
We
the
are
challenge to get better, and this gauntlet thing actually presents that. And people are usually stupid enough to actually need competition instead of internal motivators like trying to be better, goods to improve themselves, things like that. So I guess at least the gauntlet will deliver on that part.
Yeah, you need to focus. You need to prioritize if you can. You need to prioritize the yellow chest.
No offense, guys. It's just how it is.
208k, 43 seconds left.
The other thing that I just really want to hammer on here is, again, so this Sorceress's score, although it's going to be a little bit higher than the Necros that we just saw, not by a country mile or anything, but this score is insular to this one leaderboard. The Sorceress's score is only going to be compared against everybody else running the Sorceress.
Well, totally makes sense.
Check your ego and check against the other Necromancers. That has no impact at all looking at any other class about how you're going to rank in that leaderboard, whether or not you're going to be immortalized in the halls forever if you hit that top 10 rank. But on top of that, it's not going to impact the rewards that you get or anything like that. You just need to worry about what every other sorceress in this game is doing. If you're in a party, you only need to worry about what those other party sizes are doing. It's probably my favorite part about this. You know, while there's going to be differences between
that's
the
more
classes,
fair
I only
to
need
be
to
like
worry
this.
about my class. But perfect. Sorry,
and what if they actually introduce some kind of comparison amongst other classes against like all players, no matter what? Because let's say someone is really good with sorcerer, but let's say someone has a higher skill with another class and can actually beat skill to beat class and gear and the build itself just because they have better strategy, better ideas how to play the game. So I guess that would be also a really good thing. I might wanna make like different characters in the different classes if the different classes scores are not available, just to see how they're doing. Let's see what the menu will be, because they're currently not showing it. They're only showing this thing which shows you your own score, your own that's just it, your own score, nothing else. It doesn't show any leaderboard or ranking. Probably this button in the middle would show what I want to see actually. But it will be really funny, extremely funny actually, to see someone on not so good class, let's say, I don't know, Necromancer outperforming even Barbarian in score. Right? This will be really funny to see. Okay, let's see. Let's proceed. Let's not waste more time here.
Gamering on here, we got another Seal of the Worthy completion, over 200k score, 7 bosses, 39 elite monsters, 674 monsters. If I could ask for anything, I'd love to see these kind of stats basically at the end of all content in the game. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but seeing those numbers like itches some really good part in my min-max brain there.
No, you should not care about this.
Really nice to see, actually,
you should care about at the end.
demonic souls I sent back to
like I said, again, it looks like people are driven by others people's success and by greed and envy and stuff like that, instead of the actual internal motivator which should make you get better, get tougher. Just don't be sorry, get better. Get better every time. You don't need to compare to others to get better. You only need to prove it to yourself. Okay, I have improved, I got better. Who cares that somebody else could do better? You'll get there eventually if you have this internal motivator to keep your revolution or devolution. Okay, let's proceed.
Yeah, I can understand. And yeah, we got the reward immediately after each time when you're entering the gauntlet, you're gonna be getting a small reward, and you're gonna be getting a big reward in the end of each week, depending which seal you reached. I think we are preparing our third player. We are preparing Leviathan. He's almost ready. He's
So
gonna
yeah,
be
for
joining
thousands
us.
of
We got a
years, people are still
barbarian,
not
we got
getting it. Yeah,
water,
no
charge,
worries.
but I know
Doesn't
everybody
bother
wants
me.
it. So you're gonna be crushing it pretty soon. Yeah,
Charge
guys.
Hoda Barb.
Let's see.
That is like that's going to be season 3. Season 3 is going to be Charge Hoda Barb. We could just put that up on a banner somewhere. We could take down the construct symbol and just
Yeah,
put Charge
we are
Hoda smashing
playing
through the game.
Barbarian Diablo
Leviathan's
now.
an absolute legend from the community. Fun fact about Leviathan: we actually lived in the same city for like a grip, and we just never got the chance to actually sync up. But just like you, we were able to meet him at BlizzCon. He's a phenomenal dude. Shout out to Leviathan. But it looks like we're actually ready. So let's go ahead and hop into it.
Yep.
Enough sharing, anecdotal stories. Let's
Yep.
see this Hoda Barb.
Let's
Big
see this.
boy, big sword.
Let's see.
This will be
Let's
really
see.
interesting. Wow, I just can't believe
he's not
Barbarian
gonna
is
go
not
far.
one-shotting the boss here.
No,
How
he
come?
decided
That's
that
not
15
not
million
possible.
overpower was
Doesn't
the way to
sound
go
right.
to
What's
worst case
wrong?
scenario. But the Charge Hoda Barb, so this is, I think this is kind of like the apex predator of this type of content. We are working with a mobility skill in charge that's also going to be able to clear the trash for you. You have giant Hoda smashes so you can bring down bosses quickly, as long as he has all this buffs
Look at
going
this
up.
damage.
And basically being able to meld these two concepts together is what every
No other class
build
will be able to deliver such
ultimately going to have
damage.
to look for. You know,
That's
maybe
way
you're
too
running
much.
double mobility aspects, both one on
Yep.
your boots and one on your amulet, as opposed to worrying about putting another damage aspect there. Because again, remember, these monsters are only level 124. It means that they're 30 levels lower than any tier 100 content you're doing. And I figured this guy was about to get two-shot, but he's giving up a little bit more of a fight here. Let's see. There we go, Leviathan. GG. Big channeling shrine, more mobility, not worrying about resource. This is what we're looking for in Gauntlet content. This power. Jeez. All right, calm down. We need something to be able to talk about here, Leviathan, my boy.
No, he's absolutely smashing. He's absolutely destroying. But like this, if you're not gonna plan, you're gonna soon run out of the monsters. You need to focus on where actually the shrines that are resummoning the monsters are. And yeah, hopefully he has the plan. Yep, he's absolutely flying through this dungeon, picking up everything. His score already 64k. Quite insane. And yeah, I believe in our Leviathan.
Sorcerer, I
By the way,
think,
he
did better
was one of
at the
best
same time.
demon hunters
No?
that there is in Diablo 3 back in the days. And now, and absolutely understandable why he's smashing also on this barbarian here. And what is also really, really cool, that you need to obviously memorize the map. You need to memorize where all the monsters are. You need to memorize where the shrines are. What we have here,
Yeah, would do
all the
in
shrines
like
that are
2 or 3
resummoning
rounds.
the
Not hard to
monsters, the
fathom,
shrines that
I
are
guess.
giving you also extra score. They're located mostly in one part of the dungeon, and the chests are located in the other part of the dungeon. So yeah, guys, there's going to be a lot of planning, a lot of strategizing here.
Something interesting to note. All right, I'm going to get a little bit deep on details here, because I assume most people haven't studied how shrines work in this game enough to know the numbers off the top of their head. But basically what you're looking at is a 30-second buff that is also going to give you 35% movement speed. The cool part about shrines is that each one of them can layer on top with other unique shrines. So you could have a channeling shrine as well as a blast wave shrine, as well as an artillery shrine, etc., etc. but getting the same shrine again doesn't actually do anything for you. While it's going to reset that 30-second timer, it's not like you have double blast wave and double movement speed. So when we saw that loop where he actually came back through and immediately killed that boss again, while it makes sense, he knows it's there, he knows it's worth a lot of good score, that doesn't necessarily mean he got the total benefit out of that single shrine. And being able to basically lily hop, or frog hop over these shrines, always maintaining at least one constant buff for them, might be a way of being able to add on mobility to a build that doesn't normally have it. So maybe you're a huge boss killer, but you can't fit mobility anywhere. As long as you can plan out how often you get these shrines, you could effectively link together a full 8 minutes of shrine buff, maybe even longer. There's so many things that you can.
I don't think that's possible. Right? Look at it. It doesn't have a shrine now.
To make sure that you're maintaining your buffs. So even if you're not necessarily killing them,
maybe in another dungeon, maybe.
You know that you're going to be operating at maximum efficiency when you walk into the next room. Where
sounds good in theory, but in practice, not really possible.
In one of these tiles here, my brain is going crazy right now. The more that I see from this content,
probably
it's just like so exciting to have something to like really strive for in this game, right? We got the gear, we finished all of our farming, all of our grinding. What do we do with it?
Well, urgent update by Last Epoch. We'll check it later after this.
Builds to re-theory craft on top of. Not to mention all the changes coming in this patch alone. I'm gonna have to rethink all of the builds I was expecting to be able to bring into here and test them. That's probably the biggest chagrin I got is, geez, I gotta come up with all brand new builds to incorporate.
Look at how dangerous this could be. His health almost was depleted.
Themselves as well.
I can hear that Macro is starting theory crafting already right now. He's already stuck here. I'm turning left, here I'm turning right, here I'm touching this. We already in the process of creating the guide how to do it. Our Barbarian, 217k total amount of proofs of might, going really, really strong. It was actually really, really cool. We were already saying that every character has the other separate leaderboard. Also, every character, the amount of score, the total score, the amount proofs of worth that you need to earn.
Yeah, it drastically changed.
Different seals, also different for different characters, and this is
different classes. She probably means not characters. Probably that's what she means.
And this is great. You also have 2-place leaderboard, 3-place leaderboard, 4-place leaderboard. In total, together with the hardcore, we're getting 16 leaderboards here. It's amazing, and it's all coming already next week. There's gonna be a lot of fun here.
Alright, so I guess I'll be back to playing Diablo for now.
2 minutes left. We are hitting 236k. He is going on the second.
Prepare more characters or the current ones to farm a bit more. Yeah,
but he resetted all the monsters. He has here really good choice. He did really good choices, and he had really good chances.
That's a secret substat that I wish we could see on this board. How many total miles or kilometers have you run through this individual gauntlet? Because I'm pretty sure
how would this help?
Out already 3 times over, and he's still got a cool minute and a half.
Like how many feet?
Here. Definitely gonna crack over 300k as long as he doesn't hit a dry patch where nothing had been respawned yet. But I mean, the dude's great at what he does. There's a reason why you anchor him here, being able to.
Yeah, looks like the Barbarian actually is best
and
so far.
Another interesting part, something that we didn't quite touch on, is you don't just get the rewards from one ladder. There's nothing stopping you from going and doing this on your Barbarian, doing this on your alternate Necromancer, doing this in multiple group types. You could theoretically hit the top of every single ladder. If you're, a crazy master grinder like Wudijo, maybe you go crack softcore and hardcore ladder too. Why not? There's nothing stopping you from competing in as many of these arenas as you have builds to be able to support that competitive nature. I'm only going to worry about the Necromancer. I don't have it in my brain to think about a single other class with how much I need to worry about theory crafting this one. But I'm wondering who's going to be able to collect the most top leaderboard spots.
Softcore doesn't count, so who cares?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the new community challenge. Be able to be #1 on 16 leaderboards. Okay.
Probably not.
Okay, I'm wondering who that's going to be now.
No one, let me tell you, no one.
Actually will be in the game. We have, guys, a little bit more than 10 seconds left. We're gonna hit 300k. I'm pretty sure.
300k,
come on,
boy.
Oh, come on, find
that's what we need to see.
Someone.
No, probably not gonna hit 300k. Not possible.
So close, boss.
How did they
So
not see it?
close. Let's see these numbers though. That's crazy. 888, 81 monsters, 53 elites, 9 bosses. Obviously the most that we saw out of any showing.
Yeah.
But phenomenal
But
job here. by
initially, the
As
sorcerer
always.
was
It's exactly
better.
what we expected from him.
Yep, had absolutely zero doubts. Macro, I must say, I'm really, really excited, and I really like that you can get
Do I look
not
like
only
excited?
the rewards that we are getting, it's a weekly activity. We're getting the new map absolutely every single week. And we're getting the rewards in the end of every single week. We're also getting the
Alright.
rewards after every single run. And yep, I'm happy that the people
I
who are
almost
probably
fall
not
asleep though.
used by the leaderboards will be anyway tempted to try it and to see maybe the leaderboard, maybe the gauntlet is something for them. Interesting. Really, really excited about what's waiting for us in the next week. What are you excited about the gauntlet content?
I mean, if I had to pick just one thing, it really comes down to this idea of developing a strategy over a week. You know, we realize, right, you know, as content creators, as streamers, we have a bit of privilege here. The funny part being that everybody is going to be able to watch your strategies. If you're making videos about it, if you're going over strategies, discussing it, basically it's out there. It's open for people to be able to see. So being able to come up with these, maybe a little secret strategy, maybe you save it till just the last couple days and you actually finally test it
Nah,
out.
probably
That's
not.
probably what's going to be the most exciting for me. It's just this idea
Nah, I'm
of
just gonna
it's not just about damage.
work
It's not
publicly,
just about
like
stats
every
on your
time,
gear.
do
It's
everything
how good of a
publicly,
plan
who
can you
cares?
get, actually
I
create,
mean,
and how well can you
let
execute
me
on it.
pause on
Actually.
this for a while. Okay. I don't think that's actually necessary because I think him saying that actually makes me think that he really, really does care about this thing. And he is also in doubt about his skill. Why? Well, let me tell you what a true master would do. He would not mind sharing his secrets with anyone, because even if he does, he very well knows that only he can do this thing, right? This skill, only this master possesses the skill, and it's not usually not a problem when discussing and showcasing things, especially having in mind if you show one thing as a master, you should already very well know that you should have in your arsenal 1,001 things to showcase, right? So I'm guessing again, I don't want to sound offensive, like I don't want to sound like too offensive here or arrogant or anything, but my opinion about this guy is that he is very doubtful about his skill and also has no idea what he's talking about, and obviously puts too much effort and energy at achieving nothing at all. So draw your own conclusions. You don't have to agree with me. Feel free to challenge my opinion or disagree with it. That's what I think. But to me, at least, that's quite obvious based on what he said and his comments. And but the girl, I kind of like her because she's funny and all, and doesn't care about any of that shit, right?
Really tests
She's
the
probably
player's skill
a good
in a
creator to
way
watch
that
live, you
content in
know.
the game just currently doesn't offer. But I think that's just going to go ahead and do it for us. This has been such a pleasure, Anna. Thank you very much for sharing this with me. I hope that everybody really enjoyed what they saw here.
Yeah, we really enjoyed what we saw.
I actually hope so too. And yeah, macro theory crafted here,
Yeah.
absolutely. Had zero doubts that you're gonna say this. Guys,
Okay.
it was an incredible pleasure to be here. I am was really, really happy to comment on our first gauntlet. I'm Anna Cake Live. I don't know, follow, like, and subscribe. And
I mean, look at this. She might not be as proficient in the game, but I'm guessing she's a really fun person to communicate with or watch and all that. Compared to the other guy, maybe I'll check him out. We'll see. I don't usually walk into the community and participate in that kind of stuff. I care about what I do, right? It's a bit different here. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Macro, you want to say something? You want to add something?
Yeah.
No time to watch
again, my
what
name is
others are
Macro, by the way.
doing, if you know
Macro, by
what
the
I
way, on
mean.
everything if you care to see me go try to smash the Necker through this gauntlet. Thank you again to everybody. It was an absolute honor here. I think we're going to go ahead and throw it back to Adam and everybody in the studio.
Sounds like.
Everybody enjoyed seeing the gauntlet.
Oh yeah, please Adam, save us.
Next week.
Deliver us from bullshit.
Thank you so much, Macro, Anna, for taking
All
us
right.
through that. Of course, our
Let's
three
see.
volunteers from the dev team. We got John, we got Steven, and Liam for running through.
Yeah, everybody did great.
Steven actually hit, actually all of them hit higher scores than they did when we were first running through this.
They did.
Yeah, probably.
They were
Probably first runs would never be as good as
with
consequent
Gauntlet,
runs.
it is a weekly dungeon that does get changed over.
Fixed. I mean,
Probably not gonna be better.
Should be coming through every chest location, every key drop, like every boss, every shrine. Yeah, it's all fixed every time you do the runs, and that's what allows you to have that sense of like, okay, I know a little bit more about this space now. I can run it again. I'll do a little bit better.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I know with
makes sense. That it makes difference.
Of, like,
Anyway, yeah, let's see.
Like, hey, because we have 3 different classes here, and again, they're all on their own unique leaderboards themselves.
Yeah, every class has its own unique leaderboard. So when you're playing, Charged Barbarian for the season, you're playing against other barbarians, for on the leaderboard. But we also have 2 players.
Wait, they also said there will be different leaderboard for console. Like, let's say one leaderboard for PlayStation, one leaderboard for Xbox, one for PC, and that's per class and per game mode and per group. So there's gonna be quite a lot of ranking here.
3-player and 4-player leaderboards as well for players who want to get into parties and try to compete. So we think that's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah. And then I know in regards to rewards and stuff, like depending on the seal that you get, you'll actually get more caches, and the caches themselves offer up a 1/925 like ancestral that I believe is in each cache. So I believe if you get
I hope they made those caches to be actually with something useful for your class. But I highly doubt it. We'll see.
A seal that worthy, you end up getting 4 each time. And these aren't exactly like the idea of Gauntlet itself is really aspirational. So there are opportunities for players themselves to, of course, earn themselves into the Hall of the Ancients each week, and then you're kind of added onto a permanent record, you could say, put it on your resume type of thing, of for forever.
I guess.
For each week in the Hall of the Ancients, depending on where you actually land on the leaderboards.
Yeah, we don't really want to see the Gauntlet and the Trials feature as a place where players go to try to get gear for their builds. Really more of a place where players are going to go once they've got like really good builds put together to kind of try things out. But yeah, for players who do manage to clear for every seal they manage to complete at the end of the week, based on their high.
Very well said by those 2 guys.
A cache that you called out, and there's a high chance of unique items actually appearing in these caches as well.
Nice.
25 uniques out of these, but again, these are really like more augmented.
I would definitely appreciate
not like being the
a higher visit.
Yeah, and we actually have a blog that's going up after the stream that actually details out all the information in Gauntlet, including some other rewards as well.
Probably gonna make a video on that as well.
Really high ranks of where they can potentially earn some cosmetic items as well for Gauntlet. So Gauntlet again hitting next Tuesday, and I know for like the first couple weeks we want to make sure that players are jumping in, trying it out. Especially with these new changes that are coming with the mid-season update, the vampiric powers and everything like that. And then,
we're gonna have to farm those out.
And, post up feedback on, Reddit, forums, social media. We're gonna be checking it out for Gauntlet, making any tweaks if we need to make any tweaks. And then I know we actually have
an idea how to change my builds.
Starting on that's
knowing this information.
Starting on March 19th. We're calling it Leaderboard Legends, but the top players in each of the leaderboards, and there are, again, leaderboards for all the different classes, for all solo, and at the same time for hardcore as well. So if you play in hardcore and if you die in a Gauntlet, your character's gone. It is hardcore for that reason. So, but
it is hardcore exactly for that reason. Not like last Epoch, when you die you can play your character on hardcore. What the fuck?
He's a huge Diablo fan.
I'm not saying it's bad.
A customized art print.
Wait, let me pause this for a while, because it actually makes sense. It's relative to the game mechanic and their game idea about time travel and the cycles and all that, and the resurrection itself. But it doesn't make sense for hardcore to be hardcore. If you die, you can play your character again. I mean, It's quite disappointing. Anyway, I'm not saying the game is bad or anything, just this feature is weird.
For 2 weeks. So we'll have more information on that contest as we get closer to March 19th. But players that do compete on the leaderboards, they'll have the opportunity of actually earning a exclusive like customized art print as well, which is actually pretty cool. So Gauntlet shipping next Tuesday, and it'll be in of course, our mid-season patch notes that we have going up tomorrow. So and we have a blog going later today with a lot.
Yeah, let me just discuss again that thing because why it's bad. So, let's say you play hardcore and you're the top hardcore player, or not necessarily the top hardcore player, but if your character dies on hardcore and it becomes a softcore character, you probably also immediately top up those softcore players. And we all know that softcore players usually don't have the skill, right? So it's kind of not fair to them. I guess if that's for the last epoch feature where if your character dies, it's still alive, but it's now a softcore character. So it's not fair to those people who don't have the skill to play hardcore, I think. And still the idea is good because of the cycle mechanism and resurrection which it involves, and time travel and all that. But leaderboard wise, it's simply not fair in my opinion. Feel free to disagree and let me know what you think about this. I know it's not related to this Diablo 4 Campfire chat, but I think it's relevant to have in mind, especially because this is about ranking, and also Last Epoch has ranking, and it's kind of not fair.
Let's stuff posting. So really cool
so much stuff happening.
Yes,
now here
exactly.
Back end. Yeah.
One thing we did want to hit on, and this is some pretty big news from our end. One is it's an update regarding Season 4, and I know Joe wanted to talk a little bit about it.
So I'm very excited. So we've been talking about Season 4 a little bit, but like leading up to the release of Season 3, I mentioned some things about Season 4.
Let's see. Season 4 updates. That would be very interesting.
There's a lot of changes being made in that season. You may recall,
especially in the item system.
Since the launch of the game, we had some streams after Season 1 went live. We talked.
That's exactly why I keep playing this game, actually, despite all its problems, because I can follow the progress and I can see that actually they pay attention and it's worth doing so. They actually changed quite a lot. It's like a completely different game now. And we can all appreciate this, especially if we knew what it was and how it changed and what took them to actually do this. Okay, let's move on.
Changes we wanted to make in Season 2. We remember that, like, vulnerable damage to vulnerable targets was like an extremely powerful stat, an all-encompassing stat, really, in that part of the game. And we had to go back and we really wanted to take a harder and longer look at that, look at overpowering some other things, and try to get the game into a better place. There were just more viable stats for players to proceed with.
Exactly.
That was a good amount of work, I think, that we can suggest.
Exactly.
It was a really great impact on the game overall, but it was
his words, guys.
Season 4 goes well beyond like the scope and scale and changes that we made in Season 2, particularly with regards to things like our stats, attributes, and the way that rewards work. So while there were a lot of things that we did in Season 2, and we're really happy with a lot of things in Season 2 as a result, there was a much better version and expression of the game experience overall. We have a lot more planned in Season 4, and the team has been hard at work for months and months working on a lot of these things on the side. So Season 3 came out, we had some changes with it. I think it's gone very, very well. There's a lot of really fun stuff in Season 3. Season 4 is going to be responding to a lot more of the reward concerns that players have, things with regards to itemization, and other things we're not going to talk about just yet. But the news that we actually wanted to talk about today is that we're going to be opening up a PTR for Season 4 so that we can get a chance to let the community come in and test it extensively before.
How can we change this on console? How can we do like download a separate version of the game or something? Let's see.
Season 4 PTR will go live, and players get a chance to check that out and give us the feedback. And if they find issues and balance things, and
definitely gonna play that.
Interpret all that and make some changes as we go.
Yeah, and I know
PTR is a great idea.
Asking, hey, how can we make Diablo?
Finally,
we want to be a part of it. It's something that the team here has most definitely heard as Joe mentioned, there's a ton of changes, especially around itemization that are coming into season
Looking
4.
forward to see
The
this
team here
item
really
system
did feel
change.
a need for a PTR for players to jump in, try it out, provide their feedback while season 3 is still active, of course, because we want to make sure that players are jumping in before season 4 actually does start, and giving us that feedback so we can make any type of tweaks and changes from our end. And I know the team here has been doing a lot of work to incorporate a PTR into Diablo
probably
4, especially for the first time. And so
probably I can
we will say
imagine
is like PTR, of course, will be before season 4 starts. We'll actually have more information here in the coming weeks. We're actually going to have another Campfire chat specifically focused around PTR. And
all right, looking forward.
PTR. So it's kind of it will be
double thumbs up.
Reveal of what you'll be experiencing in season 4 as well. So it's going to be
there'll be some things we'll hold on to talk about.
Some things we'll hold on,
launch,
not everything,
but a huge amount of stuff. Huge amount of stuff to talk about for them.
And I will say,
probably another 2-hour stream, or more.
Pretty beefy Campfire chat coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have more info soon. But and one thing that we did want to note is. It is
D4 not bad, guys. D4 not bad.
We want to be with the changes on PTR. PC Battle.net was the best option for us. Right. So players on PC Battle.net will be able to experience the PTR themselves. And I will say with PTR, because of the changes that are coming with Season 4 and the amount of changes, as I said, the team felt like, hey, we need a PTR to make sure this happens. Does that mean we'll have a PTR every single season? Maybe not. It depends on the scale of changes that we have. But for Season 4, we most definitely plan on having a PTR. And so we'll have news on that really soon. So we're really excited that players can jump in, provide feedback. I know it's a long-awaited thing that people have been going like, oh, we would love to be able to jump in and provide some feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been playing Season 4 internally for weeks at this point, leveling up character from 1-100, and it's a blast. I'm really looking forward to getting more feedback and thoughts, just getting more eyeballs and some of the stuff that we have planned. It's going to be very, very cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, we'll be back here in the next few weeks. We'll have information on when that Campfire chat will be for PTR and all the information that you guys will be experiencing in that PTR specifically. So because I know not everyone has experienced a PTR. I probably should define what a PTR is.
Yes, that's a good idea. Define it.
Test realm. It is the ability of players
with
being
predefined characters
into a earlier build. And kind of test it out. Think of it almost like a mini beta test of some sort to experience content that is coming down the line so that they can actually provide feedback over to us. Yeah. And then we can make changes before things do go live. We've had PTRs for
Diablo 3, Diablo 2.
For Diablo 3, and of course now we have PTRs for Diablo 4. So really excited for that. And again, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about that.
Right.
We'll now jump into Q&A.
Yeah,
we know that a lot of people have questions, and we'll try to get through as many as possible. And then we'll remind everyone, at the end of the stream of checking out the site for all the Gauntlet information and stuff like that. If we can't get to stuff,
vlogs going live.
Live.
Yep.
So I know one question that we've seen a lot, at least within the community, is regarding the changes in 1.3.2. With the crafting changes, the Uber, the ability.
Make it 3. 5 is just too much.
Related to that, especially related to Resplendent Sparks, how many are required for them? I know you guys wanted to talk about
5 is too much.
I'll jump into this first, right? So for the uninitiated in 1.3.2, in our last patch, we put in the ability for players to be able to craft these Uber unique items of their choice once they reach World Tier 4. And they require Resplendent Sparks to do so. And you get Resplendent Sparks by finding another Uber Unique, which are very rare, salvage them, and then that gives you the one material that you need. Now, at launch, you need 5 Resplendent Sparks, or
3 or 2, please.
These Uber Uniques. In the next patch, where this is going to be the Gauntlet's going live and the trial system is going live, we're going to be reducing that from 5 to 4.
That's still too much. 4. Make it 3.
That last release. We also dramatically increased the drop
3 or 2
Uber Uniques from non-Duriel sources. So while Duriel gives you a fairly steady drop rate chance, still low, obviously, it's hard to find Uber Unique items in general. They're very rare and very powerful. It was exceptionally rare, as I think most players would understand, to find Uber Uniques outside of the encounter of Uber Duriel, which is one of the reasons why Uber Duriel is so popular.
Yeah.
We did dramatically increase that drop rate chance. It's still very, very rare, right? So you're not going to be seeing it all the time, but we are seeing a dramatic uptick in the number of Uber uniques that are dropping throughout the game as a result of this.
I've never
So,
seen an Uber
why
unique
go from
outside of
we
Durio.
mentioned the
Never.
concerns about the number 5. You know, why would we go from just a 20% reduction to 4? So we are seeing more of these Uber uniques dropping across the board, as I suggested. And this is sort of us beginning to get a sense of how players are interacting with these features as we start looking towards Season 4. So in terms of like the number of Uber uniques that are dropping, the way that players are engaging with various parts of the game overall to like farm up these items, you know, we're seeing some changes in patterns, which is really, really cool. We just want to let things evolve a little bit and see how things proceed. And as we kind of get into Season 4, we'll be looking at making potentially further adjustments based upon, you know, reception and how we see the numbers actually doing. Yeah. We still want Uber uniques to remain in a spot where they are very aspirational. They're not expected for every build to have them in order for them to come online and feel fun. Obviously, players really want them. You want them for your characters. They're really
Actually, not every build needs them.
The thing that is enabling you to really do something fun with your class. It's an extra layer on top of your class once you've managed to get one.
Awesome. Question that we have here is, are we getting any endgame content in season? I'm sorry, I was supposed to read the name.
Oh God, hey, you don't put your names, it doesn't count.
Jucklax asks.
Jucklax?
Jucklax.
Or Juck with a J.
Juck with the J.
I'm sure everyone's really happy that we're spending all this time on this.
Very important. Are we getting any endgame content in season 4?
Yeah, because I remember the people who thought those screenshots were fake.
You definitely check out the PTR stream when we start talking about a lot of the content players going to get a chance to test as part of that PTR release, because there is a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, particularly for endgame players.
Volume was too low.
There we go.
I just noticed.
There's a question regarding Gauntlet. Wink.
I said it, so that's
So, congratulations. We have a question from Globusnus. That was, why is the level difficulty only Nightmare 70 for the Gauntlet?
Yes. That's
so
the thing.
We want to make sure that Gauntlet content
make it 100.
Something players could start trying to dig into immediately upon entering World Tier 4. Why did we do this? We want players to be able to like ramp up through the content as they're leveling up through that last World Tier, and we wanted to see how players were going to react to it. Basically, as a result of that, like, do players ever want to try playing through it at 85? Because when you're playing through the Gauntlet, there's the seals that I think were discussed during the playthrough. The players can earn based on the point scores you're able to get. If you're crushing those point scores, you're getting rewards for doing that. And it gives you that sense of progression as you go, and you get more and more of your gear online. You find more of the uniques you need. You manage to get like you start getting your 925 items online. Like, a lot of your player power can come online as you get your glyphs leveled up and things. It doesn't mean that you need to wait to level at a very high level to be able to go do that content. So we want to make it available. And we also want to focus a little bit more on
makes sense.
How quickly players can navigate the space, use shrines to the best effect, reset creature spawns, fight bosses, spawn bosses. We want to focus more on the strategy element of it rather than the sense that monsters had much higher hit point values and dealt much more damage as part of the run. We weren't looking to like recreate like the AOZ moment, for example, as part of the space. We want this to be a little bit faster, a little bit more approachable for players of different like gear scores effectively when they start getting and build power parity when they start getting to the space. Having like a fully tricked out build is going to still be very, very useful because it's just going to allow you to blast a lot faster.
Yeah, and also I'd like just to double down, like the purpose of the Gauntlet it's not meant to be really, really hard to get through at all, where like if you just finish it, that's an accomplishment, right? Like AOZ was more that realm, like can you beat it?
Yeah.
And that's not what the Gauntlet is. The Gauntlet is about how quickly can you beat it, how do you optimize, how do you strategize, how do you change your route? It's a different thing that we're testing for players. It's not just about defeating it at all.
It's about the point score.
Yes.
Speaking of AOZ, Sparky Quark 7 asks, any AOZ content coming soon?
AOZ was good.
Again. Check out, just
really look at
like,
that stream.
There's a lot of stuff happening.
AOZ was good. Kind of sorry couldn't play much of it because I had like problems here with the equipment. Many things sorted out. I even got another console. Had to wait for my TV to be replaced, the graphics card and all that. So if they bring it back, that would be fun.
PTR stream, I just really recommend it. Just get a chance to check out that stream. I would recommend it.
I'm gonna answer this really quickly because Shark Cohen asked, is the P and PTR public or private? It is public So if you are a PC Battle.net user, you'll be able to actually jump into the PTR. We'll have instructions
Oh,
and everything
just
of how to do
PC
that once we,
Battle.net
have
user.
the PTR up and we have
Come on,
the stream and
man.
everything like that for players.
That's not good.
Is PTR free from Midwest Bob? Yes, it is. Is there an NDA? No, there's not an NDA. Can you stream it? Of course you can. So yes, we'll have more information on that again with the PTR.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of PTR questions.
I just want to make really clear, like it is free as long as you are a person who owns Diablo 4 on Battle.net.
Correct.
So
yes,
yes,
correct. Yes. It's if you're already an owner of Diablo 4 on Battle.net. Good clarification. Fonz asks, Adam, will you be able to see a breakdown of individual score relative to the other people in your party in the gauntlet? Actually, that's a good question. If you can go to the leaderboard and actually inspect players, because I haven't done that myself on the build. So
yeah, right now it's party score, so it's totaling up the value of your whole team.
Person.
Yeah,
got it. Okay.
There is no I in team or party.
I guess my own sub question to that would be on a solo leaderboard. Would you be able to actually see someone's build if they have their profile not private or something like that? Can you actually pull up their character?
Yeah, you'll be able to see the skills they have equipped at the time, and you'll be able to see like their key passive. So yeah, you can't look at their whole skill tree, but like you can see a lot of information about them.
Awesome.
Because we don't talk about this, but we actually did make some updates to the profile screen. We made some updates at the same time.
So we're gonna see the profile screen. Okay.
Imligit says, will the Gauntlet
Doesn't
leaderboard
say
be
much,
region
though.
locked? No, because everyone's playing technically on a global server.
That's right.
When you do play with your friends in your own region, you just tend to connect to them. You tend to connect to people that are playing near you because of obviously latency and stuff like that. So.
That's right.
Does the companion go with you in the gauntlet? So I think I saw this comment a lot, well, especially when Stephen Leviathan was playing through because he was the charge barb. And so a lot of people thought he didn't have a Seneschal construct with him. No, just charge barbs just move really fast. So he most definitely was there. The construct was there and was following him and stuff like that. So
it'll be with you inside.
It will be with you inside the gauntlet. And just so that you guys are aware, Gauntlet is a feature that is not just Season 3. Yeah. It is a feature that goes beyond Season 3. This is a part of Diablo 4 going forward.
Yeah, so generally your seasonal powers and things will go into the gauntlet. You'll be able to use, bring everything to bear.
He said,
we talked about this quite a bit actually, whether we want that to be the case, and we think it's more fun to allow these things to coexist.
Question from Cody PF. Why is there minimal mob density in Gauntlet? The barb ran out of density. How am I supposed to play this with my friends? I think players, with Gauntlet is like a different type of like play style. Players will most definitely have. You'll learn the dungeon throughout that week. You'll learn that you can actually take bosses. You don't have to kill that boss right there. You can most definitely bypass it. Maybe even like leash it or bring it with you into other rooms.
You might want to save it because you might want the shrine later in a different way.
There are shrines that actually bring back mobs back to life, so you can immediately get additional score. And so there's a lot of strategy involved with it. So I know a lot of people are going like, hey, there are specific moments where like Steven was like, didn't have anyone to kill there. It's mainly because, you can actually strategize and pull specific things and try to figure out exactly what ends up working really well for your character, your build, or how you want to actually maybe use shrines to benefit exactly who you killed there.
Yeah, we're not looking to make a slow-paced experience with the Gauntlet, which I think you probably saw. You saw the players getting a chance to check it out earlier. But we're also not trying to maximize density in the same way that we would in like Nightmare Dungeons or Helltide areas. Players aren't getting loot drops and they're not getting a lot of experience from these creatures. So that really the focus is on the player having an idea of like where they can find packs of mobs and where mobs can be found in general in the space, and navigating the environment carefully in order to like maximize their point gain during that time, and then interacting with these other things along the way. Why are you smiling?
It's just, I have a question from someone in here, but this is the most hilarious username.
I look forward to this.
I'm gonna say
let's see.
It's hilarious.
Let's get it.
Bob Dole's Blue Pills.
Very good.
Any possibility of getting better cosmetics through gameplay, maybe through gauntlets, skins on par from the shop, etc. This is actually a active conversation that's been happening a lot, especially based off of community feedback that we've seen regarding the shop and stuff. So I will say that we don't have anything to say right now, but we'll have some more news regarding some items related to the shop that we'll be sharing here over the coming weeks and months and stuff that will kind of help with some of this conversation I know that we've been hearing. Sorry, that name was just wow.
Blue Pills.
Quadrodia asks.
Killing it over there.
I know, amazing, Adam, perfect.
He's
Where
always
can we
good with
find the
names.
vampiric legendary aspects. This is something we mentioned at the beginning of the stream.
So-
And if for people that are just kind of tuning in, vampiric powers are coming back into season 3 a little bit, tuned a little bit differently.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, so you'll be able to find them the same way you can find any other legendary in the game. They're just going to be random drops everywhere. None of them, just to clarify, they're not going to be in the dungeons like the Codex of Power. None of them are going in there, but you'll be able to find them just like other legendaries just randomly out in the world. So no different than
So more farming, Zeiss.
Awesome. Chronix TR, Nightmare Vaults were a community favorite and very awesome to run through. Will they come back after season 3?
There are a lot of really good learnings from Nightmare Vaults and a lot of the content we have in Season 3 that's kind of advising things we're doing with Nightmare Dungeons across the board. While Nightmare Vaults themselves are not immediately returning like in Season 4, for example, they are also something we're going to be continuing to look at and think about for future releases. So, but we're really glad that players have found like some value in them and just how exciting they are and how punchy they are in the reward side.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fun.
They're
great. They're a great disruption to the Nightmare Dungeon loop sometimes too.
Yeah.
Afro Jack 365 says, "Do you guys plan on?"
But have in
offering
mind,
an
you're
armory
not
community
getting
swap
materials
builds?
for elixirs.
This is something
in them.
that we've heard a lot over.
We've talked about it before too on stream.
Yeah.
We really like this idea. The systems teams, the UI teams, all like the idea of doing this. There are plans for us to add it somewhere in the future, but we don't have dates to talk about yet. This is something we really like the idea of. We want to make sure that the game is, when we launched the game, we had this idea of like having some sense of like build permanence and things. We thought that was really important. Harkening back to some of the some bits in the past from Diablo 2 and other games, but increasingly as we've been continuing to build the game and receive feedback and play it ourselves, we're finding we really want to be able to embrace a lot more flexibility. You'll see some steps in that direction also in season 4.
Okay,
this is an
let's
example
see.
of the thing where it's like, well,
Looking
we
forward.
do in an effort to make sure the players can kind of change the way they want to play more easily. This is a feature we'd like to support. We want to do it the right way. So that's these are things that we continue to be discussing.
Yeah, and
That's why they're not pushing stuff too much.
Feedback that we've seen.
It's a
from
good
players
decision,
going
though.
Like, hey,
Make
social
things
features and
right,
things
not
like that.
just
I know
make
it's
things
a priority
to
within the team. They're working on
temp
things and
solve
stuff, and
things.
We'll have more info to share here soon on those aspects. I'll end on this. This one's a good one for Mr. Adam Jackson.
Sure.
Because this specifically talks about the Necromancer and some of the changes that are coming. This is from First Time Cheddar. Why would you guys remove damage from Death's Reach's passive? Is that contrary to the no nerfs policy you had mentioned for mid-season updates? Why didn't you just add speed on top of the damage?
Yeah, I would say one, as far as comparing damage to move speed, I think it's a pretty clear winner that move speed is a better stat and has more power than damage in our game. I think when we think about necromancers in general, even across the game in general, we undervalued move speed as far as how strong it is. We knew it was strong and good, but we didn't realize just how important and almost one-dimensional move speed. If you have the option to teleport or move faster or get something quickly, that matters more than pretty much every other stat once you get to a point where you can kill things quickly, right?
That's true.
So as far as why didn't we
Totally
just
agree.
add move speed on top of the damage? Generally when it
Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you one-shot things with 1 million damage or 2 million damage or 30 billion damage. You still one-shot things, right? So who cares? Movement is way, way more important. I usually get it on hardcore. Even when doing tier 100s, I always get movement speed on my amulet and my boots as much as possible. Also, the aspect of slaughter on the boots to further improve my mobility. That's the way more important than damage, like he said.
comes to our passives, we try to keep our passives simply designed of this is what the passive does, and it's all themed together and makes sense in a specific way.
I like this
So
simple
we
way
try
of
not to
doing
have
things.
a lot of different effects on a single passive, or even ones that are very disparate that don't really make sense to be together. And I think moving quickly and having damage to distant enemies doesn't you move quickly to close distance, not to stay distant more often than not because you're moving forward through a dungeon. So
that's actually not entirely true, because you might move faster to get away from enemies, right? And to also have more damage to them. Especially valid for ranged builds. So, I don't know. Couldn't agree that much there. But definitely really good improvement.
that was just a call that we made. It's something we can very easily add damage back to the Necromancer in a more
think
general way
you
too,
already
which
have
we
in
do.
different ways, but yes.
Yeah, you know, we add damage in a bunch of different plays. Like damage is very easy to add, whereas
Yeah.
move speed not so much. So we thought that the
Yep.
passive
Agreed.
slot was a
Damage
really
is
good
really
way
easy
because we
to
really
add.
wanted just a generic passive. The Barbarian, I believe, also has one now. That just gives you more move speed, so you can just go through the game better.
Yeah.
So we felt like it was just a better choice for the class, and like I don't think that too many people are going to miss damage to distant as much because it's way more niche than something that's just generically strong like move speed. And you know, if
In fact, I sometimes get Death's Embrace rather than Death's Reach because it also provides damage reduction, and in case, no matter if the build is ranged, in case something manages to get to the character, that's the more important thing to have. Especially if you don't have a really good pants and chest piece yet. Especially for the bone build, this includes total armor, life, damage reduction, and damage reduction not from close enemies on both things. Right? Especially because the helmet Deathless Visage, which is the build enabling helmet for the bone build, because it doesn't have total armor. So you need it on the chest piece, you need it on the pants, you need it on the amulet. But with Juggernaut and the amulet, you can go with damage reduction instead. And it still will do for those tier 70 gauntlet dungeons.
Necromancers need damage, we have a million places we can add them back. I'm not really
Yeah,
too worried about
especially Bone Necromancer
And
is
you had
all
mentioned,
about
like, even, like,
damage.
Necromancers,
Everything is
are
about
getting
damage there.
because a lot of these mid-season updates themselves are related to minions, and a lot more changes are even coming in Season 4. You had mentioned beforehand as well. So
Yeah, I think it's important to maybe address the other part of like, did we see this as kind of going back on our promise to not nerf things? You know, so I think this is why we kind of resist the urge generally in mid-season patches to redesign things completely, because then it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, is it a buff? Is it a nerf? If it's a redesign, and it could be seen poorly. We just feel like in this case, move speed is such a clear win that we were willing to do that. But we're open to the feedback, and you know, if this is too risky to the players and they don't like that, then we're willing to bend on that. I think that's okay. We just felt like this was kind of an open and shut case.
Cool. Well, thank you guys very much for the insight and the info on the mid-season update, and of course Gauntlet. Again, thank you again to Macro Bioboy and Anna Cake Live for joining us, and our three devs,
that was
John,
good, yeah.
Steven,
Kind of.
and Liam for jumping in and playing through. Again,
Especially the Barbarian.
Gauntlet is coming out with 1.3.3, which
That's
is a
the
mid-season
difference.
update that will be hitting next Tuesday on March 5th. So players will be able to actually jump in, check out Gauntlet. We're really looking forward to seeing the feedback from
March
the first couple
5th.
weeks.
Okay,
and-
let the
and,
farming
you know,
begin.
letting us know, like, hey, are there any tweaks and stuff like that that we can end up doing? We'll be monitoring that from that end. Another thing that we'll be monitoring is the question we asked earlier, that Adam had asked earlier, about how people want to see specific updates happen with classes, and like and that you guys may
In
have.
bulk.
So, like, by all means, have those conversations on various community channels. We'll be checking those out. Let us know what you guys actually think. And just a reminder, Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass later this. I almost said later this. It's 2/29. It's a leap year day, by the way. It is not March yet. Bamboozled. But it's coming later in March. It'll be on March 28th. So players will be able to.
It's March
check it out
here
on Game
in
Pass.
1
Diablo 4
hour.
will be the first Blizzard title on Game Pass. We're really excited about that. So patch notes tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
Blog post.
And blog post. And there's actually a blog post up right after this stream for the Gauntlet, so make sure to check that out for all the information related to Gauntlet before next
Checking
week.
it out, definitely, and making a separate
We'll be
video
back
about
in a
it.
couple weeks to talk about that beefy Campfire chat related to PTR and Season 4. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow to check out all the patch notes.
Is it
So, yeah.
Friday already?
Thank you.
Oh, okay, in 1 hour. Alright, folks, I guess that concludes this. So, I guess I'll see you on the next one, right? About the Gauntlet. Or on the live stream. Take care. Zeiss out.